Kim Jin-heevan led a very happy life up until his third year in high school. Then everything started to fall apart. He was bullied and his dad died from cancer. Kim was never the best in school. He always barely passed the exams, but still he worked hard. Finally, he was able to go to college and finish it with a medical degree. Kim then became a surgeon. He tried his best to save as many people as possible. Still, life was not easy. Soon he got divorced from his wife. His mother was living in a horrible apartment and Kim was always broke. Kim suffered like this for many years until he finally found out that he had terminal cancer. After years and years of hard work, it was all ending. Loan sharks came to offer Kim a deal. He could pay off his debts if they took all of his organs, and moments later his landlord kicked him out of his apartment. Basically, this man's entire life was falling apart. He was ashamed to face his mother and he was lost. Kim decided to get drunk and just cry for a while. Then a mysterious woman came to talk with him. Kim did not recognize her, but she explained that a few years ago he saved her and her husband when they were stabbed. Kim performed the surgery and saved their lives. This mysterious woman has now returned to repay that favor. She offers Kim a second chance. At this point, Kim is too drunk to understand anything, but this woman explains that she is from heaven and she gives Kim a drink that is made of pure energy. Kim drinks it, not thinking much about it. The woman then asks him what he wants. Kim slowly starts to fade, but he tells her that he just wants to be a good son, a good man, and have some success in his life. Suddenly, Kim vanishes and the woman sits alone. She wishes him good luck. In that moment, Kim wakes up, but something is different now. He is in high school again in his old apartment. Kim is young again. Kim cannot believe that this has happened. He has a second chance. His entire life, those 30 years of hell just seemed like a dream, and now he is awake again. He is young and he can change it all. He goes into his living room and tells his parents that he loves them. His father in the original timeline dies this year. Kim is very emotional seeing his parents so young. That same day he goes to school and there is an exam. Kim is super nervous, and also he forgot a lot of this content since he hasn't been in school for years. He is nervous, but as soon as the test is over, he rushes back home. He has a lot of thinking to do. Kim starts to think about his future and what should he be. He decides that being a surgeon is a waste of time. He should be a dermatologist and get rich. For the next few weeks, Kim just spends his time studying. He wants to make his mother and father proud in this timeline. His father runs a restaurant, so Kim goes to help him. His father praises him and Kim feels emotional. He has not seen his father for many years. This whole experience is such a blessing for him. He does not want to waste this second chance. Kim takes part in more exams at his school, and soon the results arrive. Everyone is shocked to hear that Kim is now in first place in the entire class. That's how good his results are. Even the class president congratulates him. Kim is proud, but he is even more happy when he shows the results to his mother and father. His mother breaks up in tears and his father goes to a party. That night, his father tells him that he loves him. Kim realizes that he has already changed this timeline for the better. Summer break hits and Kim works at the family restaurant. Also, he asks his father to join a kickboxing club. His father is friends with the director and the owner of the club. Kim joins that club and starts to work out there. He tells the owner that he wants to learn kickbox so that he can defend himself in the future in real fights. He starts to train day in and day out. It's brutal and hard work. Still, Kim is not doing this for no reason. In the original timeline, there was a bully who made his life horrible. Kim will meet the bully after this summer, so he wants to be ready. Now Kim will learn how to fight so that he is never bullied again. This time it will be different. Some time passes and Kim starts to go into a new year of high school. He's actually becoming a bit more popular since he is getting such good grades. Kim still works really hard as he studies every day. He wants to get into medical school and make his parents really proud. A new year starts, and that is when we are introduced to the main villain, the bully who harassed Kim all those years. Lee Saman enters class and the teacher is angry that he is late. Lee then reminds the teacher who his family is, and the teacher is now terrified. There are rumors that Lee comes from a very wealthy family. Lee sits right behind Kim, and now Kim is nervous. He does not want what happened in the previous timeline to happen again. The next few days go rather quiet. Kim is popular and everyone wants to hang out with him. Lee does not harass him but asks him to hang out. Kim rejects this offer and leaves. Lee then decides to bully his best friend and also make his life horrible. It seems that Lee is just horrible, no matter what timeline it is. He does not like that Kim is so popular and gets good scores. Kim is going to have to face his bully eventually, even in this better timeline. Kim's best friend is called Moonjin, and he gets really badly beaten by Lee and his helper. Moonjin tells Kim that they cannot hang out anymore, it's too dangerous. Right away, Kim realizes that Lee has started to terrorize people he cares about. This time, Kim will not allow this to happen. He goes straight towards Lee and asks him if he hit Moonjin. Lee is very chill about it, and he basically confirms that he did all of it. Kim in that moment remembers how Lee harassed him for many years and how he never had any reason for it. While Kim is not taking it this time, he grabs Lee and hits him full force. Lee cannot defend himself at all. Kim's skills are too good. Lee falls to the ground. He calls his friend to save him. His friend is a giant and he hits Kim pretty hard. Still, Kim does not give up at all. He gets back up and starts to fight the giant bully. Kim has learned a lot of kickboxing skills, so he can match the giant bully. He manages to actually take him down as well. Now everyone in the school is there looking. Kim then grabs Lee and forces him to apologize to Moonjin. Lee is actually scared and he tells Moonjin that he is sorry. Kim has really started something new. Lee is actually shocked. He is embarrassed and also beaten up. He gets up and tells Moonjin he is sorry once again and leaves. Kim is then cheered on by everyone. They are all in love with him and they celebrate him. Kim cannot believe that he actually won. This is the first time he won against Lee, and now he feels like he can start a new journey. Moonjin thanks Kim and begs him to be friends again. Kim is of course happy with this situation and he now wants to focus on his schoolwork. Student exams arrive and Kim just wants to get good results. Suddenly he is called by a teacher. Kim realizes that he is in big trouble. The teacher tells him that he has beaten up an innocent student, and now he is really going to get punished. Kim tries to explain his side of the story, but the teacher does not listen. The teacher explains that Lee has an insane family that is super wealthy and their influence is huge. Now comes the shocking part. Kim is going to be expelled from school. Kim cannot believe this and tries to explain how this is an injustice. Suddenly, Lee shows up and for some reason he supports Kim. Lee tells the teacher and the principal that they should not expel Kim. Kim still does not understand why Lee is acting like this. Some time passes and Kim once more does great on his tests. Lee actually congratulates him and tries to act nice. While Lee acts all nice, he is actually having a breakdown. He wants to punish Kim and he is losing his mind for being humiliated. Some time passes, Kim does even better in school and his parents are super happy. His father gets drunk every time he gets great results. Kim is now worried his father will die in 2 years from stomach cancer. Kim decides to talk with his father about something important. He gives him some money and decides to send him to the doctor. Kim and his father had an agreement that he would do him a favor because he did great at school. Kim's father does not want to accept this offer as he does not want to waste money and he thinks he is healthy. Kim once again confronts his father and tells him to honor his promise. Kim goes to make a call with a doctor and an appointment is made. The following day, Kim's father goes to the doctor. Kim now hopes that the cancer will be detected earlier so they can cure him this time. He does not want to lose his father again. Kim goes to school, but he is nervous the entire time. He is nervous about the results. Class ends and Kim is running back home. He cannot wait to talk with his mother and father. His mother is home alone and Kim asks her about the results. She tells Kim that it's great news. The results are all clean and great. Kim's father is totally healthy. Kim is now really confused because this does not make sense at all. His mother and father tell Kim that there is nothing wrong with the results. His father is totally healthy. The doctor just said that there is some light inflammation but nothing serious. Kim is shocked by this. He cannot believe it. He thanks his father for going to see the doctor. Kim is still not really satisfied with this answer. A part of him thinks that there are two options in this scenario. Either his father is totally healthy and he won't die, or the doctor made a mistake. Kim decides to use his medical knowledge from his previous life and he goes to see the doctor. At first, the nurse tells him to get lost. She tries to be nice, but she does not want to set up a meeting with the doctor. Kim demands that he meet the doctor and he has that right. The nurse is surprised that Kim knows all the rules about the hospital system, so she allows him to meet up with the doctor. Kim has to wait for a while, but finally he goes into the doctor's office. The doctor once more confirms that the results are clear and nothing is wrong with Kim's father. Kim needs some convincing, so he starts to question the doctor. The doctor right away gets angry. Why is this high school kid asking him so many medical questions? The doctor tries to tell Kim to leave as he is being rude. Kim then once more demands to see the photos from the exam. He wants to see what the results were himself. The doctor realizes that he has to show a patient the results. Kim then starts to look at the photos from the exam. At first it all seems fine, but suddenly Kim notices something. He notices bumps in the stomach. He demands to get the photos for himself and basically he embarrasses the doctor. Kim himself has found something weird in the results. The doctor is sorry for this mistake. Kim takes the results and he wants to go talk with another expert. Kim will do everything he can to prevent his father from dying. Kim goes to his father and tells him about his findings. Of course, his father does not believe him at this point. Kim is just a high school student, but still Kim demands to see another doctor. His parents agree to it and he makes an appointment in the Hospital of Korea, a very exclusive hospital. There they met with Professor Choi Daewon. Kim remembers him from his past life. Professor Choi was much older when Kim met him and he was really mean and harsh. Still, Choi has insane skills and he wants to see the results and try to find something out. Just moments after looking at the photo, he breaks the bad news. Yes, Kim's father does have stomach cancer. Both parents freeze from the fear. This is horrible news. Still, there is a bright side since it has been discovered so early. The survival rate is almost 90%. The family is super happy, but Choi wants to know how they found this out. Kim's mother tells Choi that the doctor did not find this, it was her son Kim. Choi then tells the family that basically Kim saved his own father's life. If they had waited for a year, the father would have been dead for sure. Professor Choi thinks that they need to start treatment right away. They actually first have to perform surgery. For the cancer to be totally gone, they have to take out most of the stomach. The family is surprised by this, as that is very dangerous. Kim then comes up with another idea, and he shocks Professor Choi with his concept of the stomach membrane surgery. Professor Choi is certain that the only way to save Kim's father would be to take out his entire stomach. Anything else could risk the cancer returning at some point. Kim shocks him with his theory. Kim tries to pretend that he just read a book, but he tells Professor Choi that doing an operation with an endoscope might be better. With that version of the operation, they do not have to cut out the stomach at all. Professor Choi is shocked by this, and at first he thinks this plan will not work. He thinks that the cancer is too deep. Professor Choi is now very curious about how Kim has all this information. No normal medical student could know such special treatments. Kim explains that he has just been getting ready for medical university, so he has been studying a lot and reading many books. Kim goes on to explain that since the cancer is still not spread and is still small, an endoscope process would be much better, and they could get rid of it fast. Choi is impressed that he could come up with such a plan, but he agrees to follow what Kim said. Kim's father and mother are super proud, and they brag that their son is beyond smart. Kim's father spends some time in the hospital. They do many tests on him to find out how big the cancer is, and finally they do the operation just as Kim advised them. Professor Choi does the operation. The operation lasts about 2 hours and Kim's mother gets nervous. Kim is confident that his father will now be okay, as he just wants to change the original timeline and save his father. Finally, Professor Choi arrives and tells them that the operation went great and that the father will make a full recovery. A few days go by and Kim spends time with his dad in the hospital room. Soon Professor Choi arrives and praises Kim for his strategy in terms of operation. Also, Professor Choi wants Kim to come study with him at the University of Korea. Choi is certain that Kim could achieve great results as a doctor and save many people. While Kim is grateful for the offer, he already lived that life. He studied hard his entire life and worked hard to save as many people as possible. This led to him leading a horrible life with a lot of stress and not much joy. Kim does not want to do that again. Kim tells his father that he will not work with Professor Choi. Instead, he will study dermatology. Kim has determined that with the medical field, he can earn a lot of money and not have a hard life at all. Kim spends more time with his father in the hospital. He also studies a lot for his final exams for the current semester. One day, while at the hospital, Kim spots something odd. It's very late at night, but he sees two guys having a heated argument. Soon he realizes that one of them is Lee Sangmin, his school bully. It seems that Lee is having an argument with his older brother, and it's getting very heated. Lee is never this serious at school, but now he seems to be totally quiet and scarred. The older brother seems to be a doctor, and he is furious. Suddenly, the older brother hits Lee straight in the face, shocking Kim. The older brother storms off, and Kim hides as he does not want them to notice him. When Kim returns to the room where his father is, he keeps thinking about Lee and his older brother. While it's none of his business, he feels curious and wants to know what is happening in that family. Some time passes, and the semester starts to end. Kim is focused on his tests, and every time he achieves the best results in class. He is still the first-place student in the rankings. Lee Sangam is always one spot behind him, but he has not been harassing him. Kim's friend Moonjin has been working really hard and improving his results. After the semester is over, the summer vacation can start for all the students. Kim is happy to finally have some time to rest. Lee then starts to tease him about being the best and pretends that it does not bother him. Lee and his friend then invite Kim to a play session in the local internet cafe. Kim decides that it's time to humiliate Lee in his own game and accepts the invitation to play games in the internet cafe. Lee and his friend challenge Kim and Moonjin to a round of StarCraft at the local internet cafe. Lee has been playing this game for years, and he is confident that he can win against anybody, no matter what. Moonjin, on the other hand, is very nervous. He knows that Kim and him have been only focused on schoolwork, so this is not a good matchup. What Moonjin does not know is that Kim was a veteran StarCraft player in his previous life. Kim failed the entrance exam to his university of choice several times, actually almost like 5 times. Each time he failed, he would spend months playing StarCraft and smoking all the time. Kim is certain of his skills. He knows that Lee does not stand a chance. The group enters the cafe and they get ready to play. Lee is not really interested. He is certain that he will win, so he is a bit bored. His friend comes up with an idea to team up against Moonjin right away and try to humiliate him in the game. Moonjin is really worried, but Kim just tells him to calm down. Finally, the game starts and Lee and his friend attack Moonjin right away. They are certain that they are going to win when suddenly they start to lose points. In that moment, they realize that Kim is just too good, and he beats them with no problem. They are shocked, but Lee is not ready to give up. He wants to go another round. Kim thinks that it's silly, but he loves to embarrass Lee, so they go again. Again, Kim is too good, and he destroys them inside of the game. After several more rounds, Lee decides to come up with another game. This time, it's a drinking game. The guys all go to the bar, and they get wasted. For Kim, this is the best time, as he loved to get drunk in his previous life. The night goes in an insane direction as all the guys get totally drunk. Kim actually gets so drunk that he throws up in the bathroom. Lee is proud that at least he won in this one game. The following day, Kim wakes up in Lee's apartment. Lee actually decided to help him and brought him back to his place. Lee cooks him some food and they talk. For the first time, Lee seems totally normal and nice. They talk about their lives and Lee admits his secret. He's been living alone for 5 years. His family is pretty messed up and he is not welcome in his family home since his mother ended up in the hospital. His mother has a mental illness and she often has hallucinations. She has tried to end her life multiple times. For that reason, she has been in the hospital for 3 years now. Kim realizes that this is the reason Lee was in the hospital at one time. They connect even more as they talk. Kim tells Lee that life can get better, so he should keep going. Time passes and the summer vacation ends and the guys return to school. They are able to finish up all the tests and Kim is still in the first position in school. Lee and Kim actually get a bit closer. They have their friendly competition when it comes to tests and academic achievements. As time passes, Kim feels even better about his life. His father leaves the hospital and he is super happy now in life. Kim realizes that he has truly changed the timeline forever. His mother was healthy in the original timeline and now his father will live a long and happy life. Months pass and then years go by. Kim is now in his final year before going to college. He finally passes his tests and is looking forward to medical school. He has now been living this new life for 4 years and has been going really great. Lee and Kim talk about college life and it seems there is a chance they will be students at the same university. Lee gives his specialty to Kim and it seems that even Lee has changed and wants to be friends with Kim. The time of the final exams has arrived. These exams are super important. If Kim passes them, he will be able to get to medical university and begin his career. In the original timeline, he was not able to pass these tests several times. He failed each time. Now Kim is ready for the challenge and he cannot wait to get it over with. One morning, Kim wakes up and something feels wrong. He feels horrible and his stomach hurts like hell. Kim starts to theorize about what is happening to him. He managed to cure his father and his mother is healthy, but of course now he got sick. Kim starts to form a working theory that it's not that important or serious. He cannot get sick just before the exams. His mother tells him to stay in bed, but Kim does not want to miss a single day. He goes to school and there his condition gets even worse. He can barely sit down because of the pain. His classmates notice that he is not doing good at all, and finally he is sent to talk with a school nurse. She puts him in bed and tells him that he needs to go to the hospital. Kim does not want to end up in a hospital bed 3 days before the exam, so he ignores her warnings and just rests a bit. Kim starts to think about the possible causes for this stomach condition. He realizes that the flu cannot cause something like this, and he does not think that his tea was poisoned. This must be an ulcer from all the stress he has been going through. This continues for the next 2 days. Kim barely goes to school and does not sleep at all from the pain. His mother and father are now really worried about him, and they want him to go see a doctor. Kim is against that, especially since the final exam is tomorrow. He cannot miss this exam. If he does not pass this exam or misses it, he will have to wait an entire year. No matter how painful his stomach gets, Kim has to ignore it and keep going. Kim is forced to go talk with a doctor, but he does not want to remain in the hospital. His doctor is certain that he has a stomach ulcer, and it's getting worse every moment. Kim ignores this, and he explains to the doctor that he has an exam in 1 day, and he cannot miss it. He then begs the doctor to give him some pills to control the pain. The doctor gives Kim the pills, and he leaves the hospital. Kim decides to stay out of school until the exam tomorrow. He goes back home and takes some pills and gets into bed. His mother and father are now truly worried, but he tells them to not worry. Kim feels sad for worrying his parents, but he has no choice but to endure this until the exam is over. Kim falls asleep and has a dream that he is writing the exam, and suddenly he is confronted by the older version of himself from the previous life. This version of Kim hits the younger Kim in the stomach and calls him a failure. Finally, Kim wakes up and realizes that it's only 4 in the morning. He has a lot of time until it's time to go and write the exam. He checks his vitals and thinks that he still has some time. He makes a promise to himself that if things get really bad, he will go to the hospital as soon as possible. Finally, the exam time arrives and Kim is now sitting in his chair. This exam is split into several parts, so this will take multiple hours to finish. Kim feels his stomach pain getting much worse. The teacher asks him if he wants to leave, but Kim assures her that he is totally fine. The exam begins and Kim ignores his pain and starts writing. He has taken all the pills he had, so this should minimize the pain for a while. He starts to write and realizes that the exam is a lot harder this year than the previous examples. Still, Kim is sure of his skills and he is able to answer every question. His pain is getting worse and causing him to struggle with writing. When the first phase of the exam is over, Kim decides to test his vitals and see if he has to go to the hospital right away. He checks his heartbeat and it seems that his heart is racing really fast. All of his vitals seem fine, but Kim knows he does not have much time. In the next two phases of the exam, Kim is in insane pain, but he is able to finish each part with no problem. Kim, now realizing that the exam is over, falls down and tells the other classmates to call the hospital right away. Hours later, Kim wakes up in the hospital and he realizes that he has been through an operation. His mother and father arrive and they are worried about him. His mother is in tears and she yells at Kim for not going to the hospital sooner. The doctor arrives and informs Kim that he has a dangerous stomach ulcer and he is only alive because he is young. Kim finally realizes that he has finished the exam and that he is now free of that struggle. All the pain and suffering was worth it. Unlike in the original timeline, he will pass the test without a problem. Kim remains in the hospital for a few more days to recover from his surgery. All of his friends come to visit him, even Lee. Lee is actually a lot nicer now to Kim. Lee and the others do not want to brag about their tests so that they do not upset Kim. All of them are certain that Kim will fail since he felt so horrible while writing the test. Kim is confident that the test results will be good. He tried his best. A few more days pass and Kim is finally able to return to school. Everyone there feels sorry for him as he had the best grades the entire year, but it's obvious you will fail the test. Kim pretends not to be bothered by all of this. Even at home, his father wants to know what he will do next year and what college will he choose. His father also thinks that Kim will probably fail because he is so sick. The following day, Kim goes to school and everyone is tense there. The test results are back and people are nervous. Moonjin gets his results back and he can go to whatever college he picks. He is super happy with his results. Then suddenly the teachers come for Kim and tell him that he not only passed the test, but he got the best results in the country. Kim is then interviewed by the reports who all want to know how he achieved his results. Kim is now finally on his way to the university he always wanted. Kim and his friends graduate from high school and it's finally time to go to college. Kim does not celebrate with other students but with his parents at home as he wants them to be happy. Then Kim goes to interview for the University of Korea and is able to get a position there. But he also goes to the same university. 1 year passes and we see Kim working as a tutor and loving his college life. The first 2 years of medical school is often the time when other college students party. The third year is the time when things get really serious. 1 more year goes by and Kim is now a second-year student. While the other students are still not taking college seriously, Kim is living a very different life. Kim does not want to just party with others, he wants to earn money and build himself a comfortable future. He takes tutoring jobs all over the campus and works all the time. He hopes that he will be able to buy his parents a new apartment so they can live a better life. Still others want to hang out with Kim. A student called Lee Haemi calls him all the time and forces him to spend time with her and the others. After Kim finishes tutoring, he is so tired and just wants to go home. Lee Haemi calls him on the phone and forces him to go out with her and some other students. With no other choice, Kim joins Lee Haemi and the others for some dinner. Lee Haemi is very fond of Kim and she constantly teases him. For Kim, she is just a weird girl who harasses him all the time with her requests. Kim knows that Lee Haemi is very popular around the university, but she is also very strange. A lot of male students confess their feelings to her, but Lee Haemi always tells them that she is in love with someone else. Lee Haemi also loves to drink and party. For Kim, this is all a lot since he is tired all the time. We are then introduced to Kangmin. He's a student who is also at the same restaurant. He also confessed his love for Lee Haemi, but she rejected him. For that reason, Kangmin now hates her and everyone around her. He has horrible plans for Lee Haemi in the future. Suddenly, Lee shows up to the dinner. Lee has changed a lot in these past 2 years and he seems more chill. Kim finds out a shocking truth. Lee and Haemi are related. They are brother and sister. Kim had no idea and he was really surprised. That night, all of them get drunk and Kim ends up sleeping in Lee's apartment. Lee is very odd these days. He acts strange. Kim learns from Lee that his dog died recently, but he is not bothered by it. Kim is much more friendly with Lee, but it's not certain if Lee does not have some other sinister plans for Kim. Kim is called to have a meeting with Professor Choi. Choi wants to be Kim's mentor, but he is not that interested. Kim does not want to sacrifice his life like in the original timeline. He wants to become a dermatologist and be rich and comfortable. Professor Choi comes up with an idea that over the summer break, Kim works at a company called Mind Bio. Kim accepts this offer without thinking cause he knows what Mind Bio will become. In the original timeline, Mind Bio becomes a billion-dollar company that is famous all over the world. It would be stupid for Kim to ignore that offer and not work there. When he arrives there to work, the people in charge are surprised that Choi sent an inexperienced student. They all think that Kim has no idea how to work in the medical field since he is just a second-year student. Kim surprises them right away. The bosses tell Kim to work on an anemia testing machine. It's a device that will recognize if a person has anemia. Kim thinks that this is a horrible idea as the device is not necessary. He explains that they can just test the blood of a person and test their ferritin levels. When Kim says this, the boss is shocked. He cannot believe that someone came up with that idea. He then calls a very famous doctor to confront Kim about his idea about anemia testing. This doctor thinks that Kim is trying to ruin his plans. Kim goes on to explain that every doctor tests for anemia with simple blood tests and that using a device will just be expensive and time-consuming. Kim is also certain that this device will not sell well and the company will lose a lot of money. The doctor, the boss on the project, and Kim get into a discussion about the device, and it leads to both the boss and the doctor being shocked. They cannot believe that Kim is this smart. In that moment, the boss of the company realizes why Choi sent Kim to work there. He is actually a genius. They decide to stop the project, but Kim is interested in their other projects. There is a device for inflammation that the company is developing, and Kim wants to help them. In that moment, Kim realizes that he has a golden opportunity to earn some crazy money. Kim tells the bosses that he will help with the project, but he just wants to have stocks in the company. The boss agrees and offers Kim a contract for 15 million won of stocks. This is not a lot, but Kim has a plan. The value of the company is low at the moment, but in the next 10 years, it will be insane. Those 15 million won will turn into 400 won in a few years. Some months pass, and Kim continues to work for Mind Bio. He is working hard on the inflammation device, and it's taking up a lot of his time. Still, he loves doing it and hopes to finish it on time. When the boss arrives, he wants to talk with Kim about his future work in the company. Kim explains that now, since his third year is starting, he will no longer be able to work on these projects. While Kim is confident that he can get good grades, he does not have time to be working on difficult projects like this while also studying. Kim promises to finish up the project before his more intense classes start. He really wants to help the company grow. In the meantime, the other students are getting ready for their first class of the third year. The first class is for some of the most difficult and the most important. That class is called the osteology class, and for all medical students, missing it is a surefire way of failing that year. Kim knows that he will have to miss it since he is working on the project still. Lee Hemi is very upset that Kim is not showing up for this class. She tries to call him, but he explains that he has a lot of work to do. Lee Hemi is very obviously in love with Kim and wants to spend time with him, but she of course does not want to admit it. Because Kim missed the osteology class, she makes a promise to tutor him so that he can get good grades and not fail. In the meantime, Kim is invited to talk with the boss of Mind Bio once more. This time he is offered a job when he finishes his college years. Kim has to think about it, but it's a great offer. He knows that in a few years, Mind Bio will become the biggest company in the country, so having a job there would be amazing for his plans. Kim thinks for a moment, but then he rejects the offer. While it would be great to work in this type of company, Kim is not really interested in this work. The boss tells him to contact him if he changes his mind. The doors to Mind Bio will always be open to Kim after he finishes college. Kim then leaves after finally ending the project, and now he goes to see his bank account. From all the tutoring, he has earned quite a bit of money, and now with the stocks, he is in a good position. Still, Kim decides to put all the money he earned with tutoring into stocks for another company. This company will also blow up in the future, and Kim thinks that his stocks could generate 1 billion won, which is an insane amount. Just before the third year fully begins, Kim takes his parents out for dinner. They do not like when Kim spends a lot of money on them, but they are happy to hang out with their son. Finally, Kim goes to his dorm and starts his year, the third and most challenging year. He goes to class, and there Lee Hami rages out on him. She is angry that he has missed so many important classes and that he has ignored her calls. She just wanted to give him notes so that he can study. Finally, class begins, and all the students are lost right away. The teacher talks super fast, and there is so much information. Everyone starts to panic, but Kim remains calm. He knows how this year will go, so he just has to remain focused and determined. Kim does notice that Lee Hami does not seem to be worried or confused like the other students. Then Kim remembers that in the original timeline, she became a famous doctor, so it's clear she is a genius. After class is over, it's time for the practical part. All the students put on their medical coats and enter the merge. For the first time, they will be cutting into a dead body. For everyone, this is horrible, but Kim is calm. He does not want to be a surgeon in his future, but he knows how to do it. Kim takes the scalpel and makes the first cut. Kangmin is on the same group as Kim, and he is kind of obsessed with Kim. Kangmin thinks that Kim does not deserve to be at this college, and he wants to prove how better he is than Kim. Kangmin takes over the scalpel and starts to cut. He is so inexperienced and clumsy that he starts to ruin the body since he does not know how to cut. Kim notices this and tries to stop him. Soon enough, the teacher arrives and loses his mind over what Kangmin did. He ruined the arm of the body. The teacher tells Kangmin that he and his entire group will get horrible grades if this is not fixed. Kim then joins in and slowly fixes up the body with his skills. The teacher is impressed and so are the other students. Some students even asked Kim to help them with their bodies. After class is over, Kim is tired and just wants to go home. Weeks pass by and now it's time for one of the first tests in this semester. All the students are afraid that they might fail. Kim, on the other hand, is confident and calm. Kangmin is still harassing him as he wants to get better grades on the test. Kangmin is certain that Kim will fail this test. We then see Lee Hemi as she openly flirts with Kim. After the tests are over, she wants to hang out with Kim alone. Kim is confused as he still does not get that Lee Hemi likes him. Finally, the test arrives and Kim is able to write all the answers without a problem. While writing the test, Kangmin watches Kim and hopes he will fail. A few days later, the results came back and Kangmin saw that he was in second place. He was happy with that, but he just wanted to know what did Kim had achieved. Kangmin at first thinks that Lee is in first place, but he tells him he is in third place. Kangmin is so curious, he goes to the administrative office to find out the results. Kangmin loses his mind when he finds out that Kim once again is at the top spot. He is just that good. Kangmin thinks that Kim is just a poor commoner who does not even deserve to be in this university. Now Kangmin makes it his mission to destroy Kim and his grades. First off, he starts by meeting with one of the older students who fills in for the professors. Kangmin has a very rich father who is influential in the medical community. Kangmin wants test results beforehand so that he can practice and get the best grade. He also does not want Kim to get any help. If a student helps him, Kangmin will talk with his father to set up an interview after his college degree is finished. After that, Kangmin goes to meet with another student who works at the administration office. This student gives other students their study guides and books that help with the learning process and help students get ready for the exams. Kangmin promises a lot of crazy things to this student if he does not get Kim his study guide. After Kangmin is done, he spots Kim hanging out with Lee Hemi. It's obvious that Lee likes Kim and this angers Kangmin even more. When Kim returns home, he has a very upsetting dream. In his dream, he experiences his divorce once more. In his original life, Kim was married, but his marriage fell apart. His wife left him as he did not spend any time with her. He was always busy with medical work and did not have anything to offer. When Kim wakes up, this dream really upsets him. He does not want to have the same life once more. He wants to work an easy job that pays a lot, and he wants to travel with his wife. Moments after, Kim tries to call to see if the new student guides are out, but the administrator's office tells him that there are no new guides. Kim thinks that this is odd, and he notices that the student who is talking to him seems upset and worried. The day of the exam arrives, and Kangmin is so happy with himself. He studied hard and already had the questions from that other student. He also is certain that Kim did not have any help and that there is no way he can pass this test. Kim, on the other hand, seems relaxed. While the questions of the exam are hard, he is able to answer most of them. Kim would have liked to have the study guide, but still these are tests he passed several times in his previous life, so it's no problem at all for him. After a few days, the results of the tests come back and Kangmin is excited to learn about his placement. When reading the results, he is shocked to find that his results are below average. He just barely passed the test. Kangmin cannot believe this, and he once more goes to the administrator's office to find out who came in first place. When Kangmin finds out that Kim is once again at the first place, his mind breaks. He starts to scream at the administrators, and he demands that they change the results. When he is finally kicked out, he runs into Kim and Lee Hemi. The moment he sees them having fun, he goes to confront Kim. Kangmin accuses Kim of cheating on the test. Kim then reveals the truth. The students that Kangmin bribed contacted Kim and explained the situation. Kim knew that Kangmin tried to sabotage him. He even found out that Kangmin wanted a teacher to lower Kim's grade. In that moment, Lee Hemi joins in. She is furious at Kangmin and decides the best decision is to report him for his actions. Kangmin is furious and he grabs Lee Hemi by the hair. He is really violent. In that moment, Kim loses his cool and he hits Kangmin with his fist. Kim starts to get Kangmin over and over again until he finally stops. Lee Hemi thanks him and promises that Kangmin will be in a world of trouble. After that, Kangmin's life turned upside down. He was punished because of trying to cheat on tests and harassing other students. Everyone turned on him and started to make fun of him non-stop. Some time passed and Kim continued with his regular studies. He then got a call to talk with the dean of the school. The dean of the school is Joo-hyun, Kangmin's father. When Kim enters the room, he sees Kangmin standing there and his father, Joo-hyun. Joo-hyun right away says sorry to Kim for what his son did. Then he forces Kangmin to also apologize. When Kangmin tries to get out of this situation, his father hits him as hard as possible. Kim then explains that he does not want Kangjim to be punished too much and Joo-hyun promises to handle it. After Kim leaves, Kangmin's father tells him that he will take a leave of absence for 1 year at the university. Kangjim is in tears since he knows how horrible this will be for his future as a doctor. A few days pass and Kim is tired from all the studying. When he returns home, he has another dream about his wife from his previous life. Kim feels guilty and he does not understand why he keeps dreaming of her. He wants to do better in his current life. Then he remembers that he has a date with Lee Hae-mi. Kim is nervous for the first time and gets ready as best as he can. Finally, Lee Hae-mi comes to pick up Kim and they go have some dinner. Soon Kim realizes that Lee Hae-mi is a horrible driver and he starts to worry that this might be his last car ride. Lee Hae-mi and Kim go on their date. Kim tries to fight the idea that this is a real date, but he likes spending time with Lee Hae-mi, even if she drives like a crazy person. They go have some coffee, and then they go to have lunch together. Kim has a really great time having fun with Lee Hae-mi. Finally, Lee Hae-mi decides that they have to travel to a new location. This one is really special to her. They travel to the mountains where there are a lot of tourists. They climb for quite some time until they reach the peak. The view is truly beautiful, and Kim in that moment realizes how truly wonderful Lee Hae-mi really is. She smiles at him and thanks him for coming to this place with him. Lee Hae-mi explains that she basically does not have any family and that she has always wanted to visit this place with someone special. We then learn that Lee Hae-mi has 2 other brothers. One of them is Lee that we know. Her mother had them and then she was later placed in an insane asylum. Her father never cared for her nor wanted her to be in the family. Kim in that moment realizes that Lee Hae-mi had a horrible childhood and she experienced a lot of trauma, but she is so strong no matter what. The 2 of them decide to have a drink in a nearby cafe. Kim goes to order the drink when suddenly he spots someone familiar, his wife from the previous timeline, just a younger version. Kim is not sure that it's her, but he is frozen in fear. Kim does not know how to process this information and he ends the date early. He's been under a lot of stress and has been dreaming about his wife for a few weeks now. Seeing her upsets him even more. Still, Kim is not sure that it's even her. Maybe it's just a woman that looks similar. Kim tries to ignore his feelings and plans to just focus on his studies and nothing else. A few days pass and we see Lee getting invited by his father. Lee hates his father and does not have any relationship with him. His father is a cruel and rich man that does not want his kids and thinks that Lee and his sister have dirty blood and are not worthy of the family name. When Lee arrives, he is sarcastic and rude to his father, Jongin. We learn that Jongin is one of the richest men in town and he has a lot of influence all around. Jongin tells Lee that he has been visiting his mother's grave too much, and if the press learn about this, it's going to be a media frenzy. Jongin thinks that Lee's mother was a sick woman who had no worth, so he tells Lee to let it go and to stop going to her grave. This makes Lee furious, but he jokes about it. He does not want to give his father any room to make fun of him. Jongin then tells Lee to leave as he is not worth talking to. Still, as a farewell, he tells Lee that he is always in second place in school and that it's embarrassing. When Lee leaves, his half-brother tells him that he is filthy and horrible. All of this awakens trauma in Lee and he starts to lose his mind. He feels pathetic and lost in his life. We then see him attack his own dog when he is alone. Lee is obviously suffering, but he is taking out his pain on his poor dog. In the meantime, Kim is feeling nervous about possibly meeting his wife in that cafe shop. He cannot stop thinking about it and he is very distracted during class. Everyone notices that he is constantly serious and his mind is somewhere else. Kim just cannot stop thinking about that meeting, and finally he leaves class. He then travels to that cock shop in the hopes of finding out if that woman was really his wife from the previous timeline. When he arrives there, she is not in working and he finds out that she was just helping out for that day. Kim is confused as he sits outside. He does not know what he is feeling. Finally, he feels relief as he does not want to repeat the same mistakes from his previous life, so it's better that he does not meet her again. Kim then goes back to college and he focuses on his studies. Another 2 years pass and the students start to work more in the medical field. Many things change, but Kim still remains a top student and Lee is constantly in the second position behind him. As a third-year student, Kim has started to work in the field more. In these final parts of the third year, the medical students work at various hospitals trying to train their skills. Kim is very nervous about all of this. He has a lot of studying to do and also he has to be great at the practical work. When he arrives for his workday, he is met by Lee Hae-mi, who is also doing her practical studying. Lee Hae-mi still loves to hang around Kim even if he does not notice her massive crush. They are soon introduced to Bum-soo, the main doctor, and also Lee Hae-mi's brother. Bum-soo seems nice, and he explains to the students what they will be doing today. Kim remembers Bumsu as being the older brother that hit Lee in the hospital all those years ago. Now Bumsu seems nice and calm. Bumsu tells the medical students that they have to be careful cause they can cause a patient to die or get harmed. The main responsibility of the doctor is to, of course, cure the patient, but they first have to learn how to not kill the patient in the process. Bumsu then leads the students as they have to work with some other doctors in the hospital. These doctors are not as friendly as Dr. Bumsu, they are the opposite. One of the doctors is so angry at the medical students that he ignores them for almost half an hour. Then he notices Lee Hamey and starts to harass her. He tells her that she does not need to study, but she just needs to get some cough with him. Lee Hamey gets furious, but before she can speak, Kim gets involved. Kim tells the doctor that he is being a creep and he should stop. The two almost get into a fight, but soon Professor Choi arrives to calm the situation. It seems that Professor Choi will be helping the students and leading them through the hospital. Choi notices Kim right away and they catch up on old times. The creepy doctor realizes that he is in trouble since Choi likes Kim. Professor Choi prepares the students for their first patients. Usually the doctors learn everything they can before meeting with a patient, but this time it's different. The students must learn, so Choi will test their knowledge. The first patient they meet has problems with her stomach and doctors have been giving her a therapy, but she is not getting better. Choi right away gets mad since he does not think the therapy is right and he demands to know the answers, but the students are stuck. None of them have the answers except Kim, of course. Kim wanted to keep a low profile and not show his knowledge in front of Professor Choi, but he has no choice. Kim goes on to explain what is wrong with the therapy and he thinks that the pills are causing more symptoms. He then goes on to explain in detail how he would treat the patient. Professor Choi is very impressed and he wants to see how smart Kim really is. They continue their tour all around the hospital and basically the same thing happens. Professor Choi asks the students some questions and they have no idea. Kim then has to get involved and give the answer. Professor Choi wanted this as he wanted to test Kim in various situations. Kim proves himself to be smart and beyond capable. Finally, they reach a patient that has stomach cancer. The doctors were able to locate the cancer early, so the patient should be getting better. Still, there is a problem. There are strange bumps on the patient's lymph nodes. This time, Professor Choi really wants to know what Kim thinks about this situation. Kim goes on to explain that maybe the patient has lymph node cancer, and they have not located this so far. Professor Choi is curious by that choice, and he wants to know how Kim would continue to treat the patient. Kim thinks that they need to start a simplified operation and check 10 lymph nodes. Hopefully, they can locate and isolate the cancer early before it spreads to other parts of the body. Professor Choi is truly impressed and he praises Kim. This is the worst-case scenario for Kim since now he is the star of the day and Choi wants him to be his personal student. Choi comes up with a plan. He will be Kim's mentor and Kim will specialize in internal medicine. Kim does not want this and he wanted to avoid this scenario by any means necessary. Kim decides to think about it and Lee Hamey goes to talk with him. Hamey thinks that this is a great situation and Kim should accept the offer that Professor Choi proposed. Kim then finally reveals his plan to her. He wants to become a dermatologist. Lee Hamey is shocked. She cannot believe that someone as smart as Kim would enter that simple field of medicine. She wants him to explain, but Kim just tells her that this is his wish. After their argument, Hamey thanks Kim for helping her with that creepy doctor. Kim then pets her on the head and tells her that she is awesome. In that moment, Hamey blushes and she rushes out of the room. Kim is certain that she got angry at him again. Kim might be a genius at medicine, but he is clueless when it comes to women. The following day, Kim and Lee Hamey are back doing their residency at the hospital. Kim tells Lee Hamey that he is sorry for touching her head yesterday. Lee Hamey blushes and then starts to yell at Kim and tells him that he is totally clueless. Soon after that, Kim and Hamey both get their tasks for the day. This practical work in the hospital is half of their grade, so it's very important that they perform well. Hamey gets a patient with some problems, but it does not seem too difficult. The creepy doctor decides to punish Kim and gives him a patient in critical condition. Kim goes to check on the patient. It's a man who had cancer and he has some sort of inflammation. Kim starts to check the patient and notices that he is bloated all over his body. Kim realizes that something is wrong and the doctors are not treating this patient in the correct way. The creepy doctor arrives and he creates an even bigger problem when he decides to give the patient a certain therapy pill. Kim tries to stop him, but it does not work. The patient has a heart attack and Kim has to save him as fast as possible. After the whole even Kim is just sitting down and he is tired, he not only caused problems, he also got a lot of attention on himself. The following day, Professor Choi calls in Kim for a meeting about the incident with that patient he saved. The creepy supervisor is also there and it seems that Choi is very angry. Choi wants to know what happened yesterday and Kim tells him. Kim actually protects the supervisor and tells Choi that they both tried to save the patient as fast as possible, and the supervisor did nothing wrong. Choi smiles and congratulates the supervisor for his skills. Kim in that moment realizes that Choi already knew Kim saved that patient and not the supervisor. It seems that this was another test from Professor Choi. After the meeting is over, the supervisor thanks Kim for saving him and apologizes for being so rude. Kim tells him that it's okay, but he first has to apologize to Hammy as soon as possible. The supervisor accepts this, but he asks Kim how he is so smart in medical situations. Kim explains that he just reads books and nothing more. Hours after we see Dr. Bumsu in his office, he is freaking out and he is angry. It seems that Bumsu is under a lot of stress. Lee then enters his office and starts to make fun of Bumsu. Bumsu seems to hate his younger brother and calls him a monster with filthy blood. Lee then asks Bumsu what happens if someone gets under a lot of stress and how it can lead to a heart attack. Bumsu answers it and tells him to leave. We then see Lee smiling while he leaves. It seems that he has some sinister plan for Bumsu. Lee Simon spends less and less time with Kim and the other students. He seems to be planning something, but nobody knows what. Kim is studying hard, and finally he decides it's time for a quick break. Kim goes to meet up with Moonjin and another friend from high school. Lee Simon should have been with them, but he did not respond to the invitation. Kim has not seen his high school friends in a few years, so this is great for him. They laugh while drinking sake and talking. Kim tells them that he plans to become a dermatologist. Moonjin is shocked by this. He does not understand why someone like Kim would enter in such an easy and boring medical field. Moonjin really wants to specialize in internal medicine and become a surgeon. The other friend totally failed med school, and he plans to become a police officer. After their reunion is over, Kim goes to sleep over at his parents' house. His mom is angry at him for drinking so much. When Kim lies in his bed, he starts to think about his parents and their living condition. He wants to buy them a new house as soon as possible, so he has to make sure those stocks are worth a lot of money. In the meantime, MindBio is in trouble. The entire company is losing money fast, and the boss is working on a newest project to lift them up from this crisis. Soon he hears news that the project will be shut down and they will lose a lot of money. The boss tries to beg the investors for some more time. He thinks that there is a chance of Kim saving the company. Kim continues his work and studies. He is tired all the time, but he has to push forward. Suddenly, he gets a phone call from the boss of MindBio. The boss tells Kim that the company will go bankrupt if he does not help them with the newest project. In that moment, Kim realizes that he will lose all the money he invested in the company. Even if he does not have enough time, Kim has to get involved to save the entire company from falling apart. Kim goes to meet with the bosses of MindBio and the investor from a firm called Haynes. This investor is the vice president of the company, and they bring all the funding to MindBio. The vice president is certain that Kim has no idea what he is doing, and she does not want to give more money to MindBio. When Kim sits down, he looks over the papers, and right away he notes that this project will never work since the formula is wrong. It will always cause side effects in patients, so it's useless. This breaks the boss of MindBio. Kim then comes up with a new idea. He can change the project into a medicine for stomach problems. He knows the new formula and how to get the project up and running. The vice president of Haynes is not sure, but Kim tells her that he will only give her the ideas if she pays MindBio $300 million in funding. If she does not, Kim will take his ideas to another company. With no choice, the vice president accepts the offer, and Kim proves in just a few minutes that his project is great and can be successful. A few weeks pass by, and MindBio has a surge in their stock prices because of Kim and the project he delivered to them. Kim is now focused on his surgery training, the worst part of medical school. He is tired all the time, but still he keeps moving forward. Kim then decides to buy a new apartment for his parents with the money he earned from the MindBio project. At first, his parents do not want to accept the money, but Kim is able to convince them. The following few days, they search for a new place until they find a perfect apartment. Kim is super happy to see his parents satisfied in a new home. Another year passes by, and Kim is studying as hard as possible. His surgery training is now a main part of the study. He has to focus on the theory exams while performing doctor duties like surgeries or patient care. It's a lot, but Kim is determined to push through. As Kim keeps working hard, he gets the flu. He does not want to stay at home, so he does not miss any classes, but he is tired all the time and he can barely stand up. Kim just wants to sleep all day, but he has no choice but to keep going. One day, Kim decides to go and buy some flu medication and get some teas. There he meets Dr. Bumsu, who wants to drink with him and talk. Bumsu asks Kim about Hammy and how he feels about her. Kim explains that Lee Hammy is a good friend and he likes her. Bumsu then tells Kim to take care of her in the future. Kim is too sick to think about any of this, and he just wants to rest. Too bad for Kim, but he gets a new test that he has to perform. Kim has to stay overnight in the hospital and work in urgent care. If a surgery happens, he has to be there, and he has to perform. Kim hates this. He is tired, and spending the entire night alone in the hospital is the worst. Suddenly, Kim is called into the operating room. He has to be part of an emergency surgery. For Kim, this is the worst because it reminds him of his old life. He did surgeries all the time and he hated it. When he enters the operating room, the other doctors start to accuse him of being a pro who is faking not knowing anything. Kim realizes that he has to fake being horrible at surgeries so that they never force him to do this again. Kim is now in the operating room and the other doctor is starting the operation on the patient. The operation should be pretty simple and the doctor wants to test Kim to see how much he knows. While Kim tries to pretend he has no experience, he cannot help himself. Every answer he gives is a correct one. He knows how to wash your hands before an operation, he knows what everyone needs to do during the procedure, and he knows all the most complex cuts. Still, the operation does not go smoothly. Suddenly, the doctor notices that the patient is bleeding a lot. He tries to stop the bleeding or find the cut, but there is too much blood. The doctor cannot see anything. Kim starts to get nervous. He realizes that this is a problem, and he has to handle it. The doctor tries to clear the blood, but nothing works. It's obvious that the doctor is in panic mode, but then Kim gives him some advice on how to continue. This advice is pretty useful, and then Kim gets involved and is able to stop the bleeding. After the operation is over, the doctor praises Kim and sends him home early to rest. Before Kim leaves, the doctor asks him about his future career. When Kim reveals his wish to go into dermatology, the doctor has the same reaction as all the others. How could someone as smart as Kim go in that dumb direction? After resting home, Kim gets an upsetting phone call from Lee Hammy. It seems that her brother Bumsu has died. Kim is shocked and he goes to help Hammy with the funeral. Kim learns that Dr. Bumsu died by suicide, but in a strange way. It seems that he put a needle in his arm and pushed his system so far he got a heart attack. Kim is sad and he offers Hammy all the help she needs. We see that Lee Sang-min is also at the funeral and he gets into an argument with his father. While everyone thinks Bumsu committed suicide, it's clear that Lee Sang-min was involved in some way. Kim remembers that Dr. Bumsu made him promise to take care of Hammy, so Kim does just that. Half a year goes by and Kim is working hard to finish his program. Hammy is doing much better and she is more happy. Kim is always by her side, helping her with whatever she needs. It's obvious that they have grown closer. Kim is now focusing on the field he wanted the entire time, dermatology. He goes to meet the other students from this particular field and he loves it. Unlike internal medicine and surgeons, these doctors are a lot more chill and relaxed. Kim loves this and he hopes to really shine in this field. Then the bad news hit. Kangmin's father is the head of dermatology. Kangmin was that kid who tried to set up Kim as a cheater and have him fail. While Kangmin's father seems nice, he is also angry at Kim for ruining his son's reputation. Kim realizes that there is no chance he can make it in dermatology since Kangmin's father will ruin him. Kim is now really sad since he feels he wasted all of this time working to be the best in this field. He really wanted that future job. Now he is back at zero and does not know what is his next step. In the meantime, Lee Sang-min meets with his horrible father. The father orders Lee Sang-min to enter the Dial Hospital and become a surgeon there. Lee Sang-min tries to talk back to his father, but he throws a glass in his head. Kim is feeling pretty lost because of the new developments and he does not know what his next step is. Suddenly, he is called by the vice president of Haynes, the woman whom he worked with on that project. They meet for lunch and she offers him a job. It's a job at Haynes and it pays a lot. Kim has to think about it, but part of him really wants that job. He knows that his future as a doctor of internal medicine will be horrible, and he just wants a peaceful life. While walking back from that meeting, Kim gets another phone call. This time it's from the Dial Hospital. They also want to offer him a job. He will have to study there and then work for them. Kim in that moment realizes that maybe this is his chance to achieve his dream of dermatology. He can be far away from the University of Korea and finish up his studies at Dial Hospital. Kim accepts the offer right away and he wants to meet with the administration. Kim goes to have an interview with a member of Dial Hospital. It seems that the hospital has chosen Kim for a great job opportunity. Kim finds this a bit strange, but the administrator explains that since he is one of the best students ever, they just had to get him as a highly paid intern. Without thinking much about it, Kim accepts this offer and he is super happy to finally be on track to achieve his dream. Days later, we see Kim having drinks with Lee Sang-min. They have not hung out for a while and Lee wanted to celebrate their end of studies. While talking, it's very clear that Lee has some sinister intentions. When Kim gets too drunk, Lee almost puts his hands on Kim's neck but stops himself. Kim really should get better friends cause Lee is a snake in the grass. After some time, Kim finally finishes college. He is done and now he can move up to becoming an intern and then a doctor. Soon after finishing his university, Kim starts work with other interns in a hospital. Hammy is also there and some of his friends, including Lee. This is one of the most famous hospitals in the region, so the best interns always work there. Moonjin is also there and right away he develops a crush on Hammy since she is perfect. When Moojin tries to flirt with Hammy, Kim gets jealous for the first time, showing that maybe he does have some feelings for her. All of them begin working as interns, and it is hell on earth. It's difficult, and they have no spare time. Kim impresses the nurses and doctors with his great work. All the work of an intern is pure hell. Kim can do it. Kim as an intern has to do all the horrible work from taking blood to urine samples. Still, he keeps going no matter how hard it gets. Kim as well as Hemi get really tired as time goes on. They are working all the time, and the high-level doctors are just giving them endless tasks. After work, Hemi goes to talk with one of her friends, and she does admit to having a massive crush on Kim. This is something that everyone besides Kim has noticed. Kim continues his intern work and tries his best. Professor Choi arrives because he wants to know how good Kim is doing. Kim proves himself once again, but soon a very difficult patient arrives. Kim finds a patient who had stomach cancer and was cured. Still, this patient remains in critical condition, but the doctors do not know what is making him sick. Kim teams up with another doctor there who thinks Kim is too young for this sort of case. Kim soon realizes that something dark and bloody is in the urine of the patient. Kim tries to find the cure as he realizes that the doctors have missed something in the patient. Kim goes to the library to try and find the causes behind the red urine. After hours of research, he is finally able to find it. Kim goes to talk with the resident doctor and tries to explain the situation. The doctor ignores his warnings as he thinks he knows best, and Kim is just low level. Kim takes blood and finds the sickness. He ignores the doctor and his theory and does his own thing. After a few hours, the tests from the blood return. The doctor is angry at Kim and tries to shame him for not following orders. In that moment, the test reveals that what Kim said was very true and the patient has a very particular sickness. Soon after Professor Choi arrives, the doctor tries to take credit for this, but Choi knows it was not his plan. Once again, Kim has proven himself as a master doctor and Professor Choi is impressed. At the same time, the evil chairman, who is the father of Hami and Lee, finds out about Kim and wants to stop his rise in popularity. Yeon-hee, Kim's wife from a previous life, appears in hospital. It seems that she is now working there. Hami invites Kim for some food and drinks. He is happy to take her up on that offer, but as soon as he spots Yeon-hee, he starts to lose his mind. Kim starts to run around the hospital trying to find her. Soon he realizes that he cannot find her, so he gives up on that search. Some time goes by, and Kim finally finishes his internal medicine training. He is now moving up to the surgeon department. Kim is not excited about that at all, but still, he has to power through it. While working his first shift in the new position, he runs into Yeon-hee. It seems she is also working at this department as a nurse. Kim falls to the ground the moment he spots her. He does not know how to act around her. Kim can't stop thinking about his past with his wife. He is now working with this woman he knows as Yeon-hee, but it's not his wife. It's a totally different timeline. Still, Kim cannot stop looking at her. In the worst moments, he starts to remember their lives together and how much she suffered because of him. Yeon-hee seems to be very nice, and she notices Kim right away, but does not know what his deal is quite just yet. While working their shift, Kim helps Yeon-hee, and they start to connect little by little. Soon after that, a new patient arrives. His old wife is injured, and it seems that she has a very infected wound. Kim decides to intervene since the other doctors are moving too slowly. Kang Mikkel is an operating instructor, and he is one of the most feared people in the hospital. Many interns who work with him quit after a while since he is so scary. Kim continues to prove himself in the medical field. New patients arrive all the time, and Kim is able to help them with no problem. In the meantime, the evil chairman wants Kim to be broken, and he hopes it will happen soon. He is even transporting Kim to the worst parts of the hospital, where Kang Mikkel is working. Kang Mikkel is a horrible surgeon. He is mean to the other interns during the operations, and many fear him. The evil chairman thinks that Kang will for sure break Kim and make him run away from the surgeon department. Kim continues his training, and soon he joins Kang during one of his operations. Kim is also joined by the other interns, and they are all fearful of Kang. Dr. Kang forces the interns to handle the operation themselves, and every time they mess up, he screams at them. He starts to scream at one and then the second intern. Finally, it comes time for Kim to step up, and he is brilliant as always. Every surgical move he makes is perfect, and Kang is actually impressed. Kang and Kim are able to perform the surgery with no problems at all. When the operation is over, Kang wants him to be his assistant from now on. Kim did not expect this to happen, and it's his worst nightmare. As time goes on, it's more obvious that Lee Sang-min is jealous of Kim. While he covers up his emotions with his cold presentation, he is actually furious at Kim in this entire situation. Kim does not want to be an assistant to Surgeon Kang. This is the last thing he wants. Kang kinda likes Kim and thinks he has a bright future in the surgery medical field. They start working together on a few difficult operations. Every time the interns start to panic since Kang insults them and makes them scared. Finally, the day of a pretty hard liver operation arrives. Both Kim and Lee Sang-min are invited to be part of this operation. During the operation, Dr. Kang starts to argue with the other interns. He is furious, actually more than usual. Suddenly, Kim notices that something is wrong with the doctor. Kang then reveals that he has a problem with his heart and it's acting up. Kang tries to finish the operation, but he starts to suffer even more until he falls to the ground. Kang is taken away as he suffered a critical heart attack. The liver operation has to be completed. Kim tries to tell the nurse to bring a specialist or a doctor who can perform this surgery. It is then revealed that at this moment there is no other doctor that can perform this surgery. Kim realizes that the liver has 1 hour before it starts to be ruined. Basically, if he does not get involved, the patient and the liver will be lost. Kim decides to take the lead and perform the surgery. Lee then actually gets mad but does not show it. Lee is furious that Kim can perform these crazy miracles and always be the best. Kim asks Lee to help him in the operation and Lee accepts. Together, the two interns are able to finish the operation. Kim once more proves that he is a true medical genius. They finish the operation and they are able to transplant the liver without issues. Still, Kim wants to keep it a secret. He does not want others to know about it. Lee promises to keep his secret, but there is a sinister energy coming from Lee. It seems he is getting more and more angry at Kim. As time passes, Kim spends more time with Haemi and she loves it. She obviously has feelings for him, so spending time with Kim is a pure joy for her. Soon the boss from Mind Bio arrives and she tells everyone how amazing Kim is. This ruined any chance that Kim had to stay unknown in the hospital. Kim becomes popular as he works hard every day. Basically, all the patients love him and the other doctors realize how talented he is. They constantly call him to help them with their patients, so Kim does not have any time for himself. Haemi really wants to hang out with Kim and take him out on a date, but Kim is too busy at the moment. Kim continues to work hard when one night a critical patient arrives. This patient seems to be really drunk and for some reason he is barely alive. When Kim checks his condition, he realizes that the man has liver cancer and it's in the final stages. Kim treats the patient, but his condition is really bad. Kim realizes that there is not much he can do. Still, Kim wants to try and help the patient any way he can. When the patient wakes up, Kim learns more about his life. The man knows he will die soon. He just wants to see his son one last time. Kim tries to arrange this, and he also tries to save the man. The man gets worse every hour, and soon they find out that he cannot pay his medical bills. Kim is furious at this, since he wants to save the man or at least make him comfortable in his last moments. The hospital actually plans to kick the man out since he cannot pay his bills. In that moment, Kim steps up and decides to pay the bills for the man so that he can stay in the hospital. The evil chairman is determined to ruin Kim so that his son Lee can rise to the top. While he's a horrible father and he basically hates his son, he does want him to be the best so that he does not bring shame to the family name. Kim is really worried about the patient with liver cancer and wants to help him. The other older doctor tells Kim that there is nothing to be done. The following day, that same patient dies. Haemi gets emotional as this is the first person she lost during her time at the hospital. Kim, on the other hand, is cold. He has experienced this many times in his previous life. The chairman gathers his board members and tries to find any reason to fire Kim. This does not work since Kim has been perfect so far, and not only does he not make mistakes, but he saves lives. Kim really wanted to remain under the radar and not famous at all, but the opposite keeps happening. Because of his actions, he is put in online articles where reporters are praising him. Also, the evil chairman's plan is ruined since the other doctors support Kim and think he is great. They do not want to ruin his career for any reason. Kim continues to work, but he makes plans with Haemi to have a dinner date. He makes a mistake cause at the same time he made plans with the woman who became his wife in the original timeline. While Kim does not have feelings for this woman, he wants to meet up with her. Haemi gets all ready, but Kim cancels their date as he tells her he has some other business. Haemi gets teary and leaves sad. Kim feels bad, but still he meets up with that woman hoping to find some connection. Kim goes on a lunch date with his wife from the previous life. While the whole situation is pretty odd for Kim, he still enjoys himself. By accident, Haemi ends up in that same restaurant. She spots Kim with the other woman and right away she starts to tear up. This is a horrible situation. Haemi does not want to bother Kim, but she has to leave as fast as possible. She actually runs into Kim, but she just runs away from him. In the following days, Haemi pretends everything is okay. She does not mention anything and she's just acting as usual. Still, Kim realizes that he made a mistake and he feels pretty bad. In the meantime, Lee is having trouble with his evil father. The chairman is hitting him with bottles and belts. He demands that Lee gets better and finally defeats Kim. Dr. Kang recovers from a heart attack, but he still has to remain in bed. In the meantime, Professor Choi is still angry at Kim for wanting to be a dermatologist. Kim really has to fight against Choi so that he is left alone to pursue the career he wants. Kim tries to focus on his work when Lee arrives. Lee's acting very odd, even more than usual. Finally, Lee talks with Kim and offers him 10 billion won to quit being a doctor. Kim is shocked by this. Kim gets really angry at Lee for coming up with such a dumb idea. While yes, money is important for Kim, just selling out like this is horrible. Kim storms off while Lee is left alone. Haemi overhears and tells Lee to not bother Kim and also tells him that she knows he killed Bumsu. While Haemi does not have the evidence she needs, she knows what Lee did. In that moment, we see Lee in his true nature. His eyes become sinister as he slams his sister into the wall. He then almost stabs her with a pen in the neck. Lee actually does cut her flesh as he tells her horrible things. Lee is a crazed person and he is truly deranged. Haemi then bites him and manages to get herself free. Lee does not want to finish her off as he thinks she is too pathetic. Haemi is left alone and sad. Haemi feels isolated since she cannot connect with Kim and her family is a total mess. She feels like she does not belong anywhere. Kim continues his work and soon ends up working in a new location. He actually has to travel. Haemi joins him on this trip, but they are not alone. Yeonhee joins Haemi and Kim on their flight. It seems that a love triangle has formed. Haemi is very awkward around Yeonhee as she feels jealous and insecure. They'd all go on a plane as they travel to meet with a new patient. Haemi feels hurt, so she is quiet for most of the plane ride. She wants to admit her feelings but does not know how. In the middle of their flight, Haemi and Yeonhee talk. Haemi tells Yeonhee to take care of Kim. Haemi likes Kim so much that she does not want to stand in the way of his happiness, even if that means letting him go. The moment Kim and Haemi start talking, there is an emergency announcement. It seems that there is a patient in critical condition on the plane and they need help as soon as possible. Kim and Haemi get involved with the patient. He in critical condition and he seems to be a very important person. The plane cannot land at the moment, so this person will surely die if they do not step in. Kim is ready to perform an emergency operation. Haemi is worried about him and wants him to be careful. If Kim makes a mistake during this operation, he will be blamed and he will be convinced for a crime. Kim needs Haemi to help him as they can perform this together. The two of them focus up and slowly start the operation. Kim and Haemi are a truly great team and they are able to extract the problem. Kim does notice that something else is wrong with the patient. Haemi and Kim are able to finish the operation, but soon they find another clot. Kim has to get involved once more and Haemi supports his decision. Finally, they are able to find the second problem and stabilize the patient. After the plane lands, Haemi is very distant. She feels sad and alone. Kim notices that she is acting differently, but he does not want to bother her. Kim avoids reporters and pretends to know nothing about the miracle operation on the plane. When he arrives back at the hospital, there is a news report and they give all the credit to Kim. Kim is so angry that he is getting famous once again. Moonjun is pissed off at Kim because he is somehow the best, but he is also always angry about being the best. Kim is now really famous as the politician that he saved on the plane arrives to thank him. Haemi is supportive, but Kim does not want all this attention. It's all going against his original plan. Kim decides to take Haemi for a drink and some food since she has helped him so much. A very important test is coming up, and this is the final step for Kim to achieve his goal of being a dermatologist and earning a lot of money. Resident examination test is one of the most crucial tests a medical student can take. It basically determines their future in the field. Kim has asked Haemi to submit him for a dermatologist. He works really hard studying for the test and then while writing. Kim remembers that 7 years ago he had to pass a test while having a stomach ulcer, so this is much better. After the test is done, a few days pass. Finally, Moonjun tells Kim that the results are in. Moonjun was able to achieve everything he wanted and he is super happy. Kim reads his test results and he is literally the first in the state, but the problem is that he was submitted as a surgeon, not a dermatologist. Kim is really upset and he calls Haemi to find out what happened. She starts to cry and explains that she reported him to the dermatology department and she has no idea what happened. Kim calls the administration and they explain that it was a mistake on their part, but they cannot change it. Haemi arrives and she is in tears. She blames herself. In that moment, Kim hugs her and tells her that it's not her fault. While Kim and Haemi are hugging, Dr. Kang arrives with some flowers and bottles. Dr. Kang wants to celebrate with Haemi and with Kim, so they go grab some dinner together. They laugh and have some fun. Kim then admits that him becoming a surgeon was a mistake made by the administration. Dr. Kang thinks that this is for the best since his talents would be wasted being a dermatologist. This way, he can truly make a difference. After the dinner, Kim goes for a walk and thinks about his future as a surgeon. While it was not his first choice, he has a passion for that work. Kim realizes that the only reason he does not want to become a surgeon is to make the same mistakes he did in his first life. He just does not want to repeat his failed life from before. Kim finally decides that he can follow the surgeon's path and become the best of the best. Lee Sang-bin is actually behind the mistake. He got Kim into surgery because he wanted to beat him. Lee never considered Kim a friend. He is basically at war with him, but Kim does not know it. Lee Sangbin wants to be the best, and if Kim goes and becomes a dermatologist, he will never get a chance to be him. Lee is showing clear signs of his mind breaking and him becoming a very deranged villain. Kim starts to work as a surgeon, and every day is tiring. This is just as he expected. The other doctors think that he is just an intern, so they do not work well with him. Still, Kim keeps working hard, helping the patients and trying to do his best. In the meantime, Lee Sangbin's father and the evil chairman plans to destroy Kim and his surgeon career. He wants him gone so that Lee can be at first place finally. Kim is working all the time and he feels himself getting tired. This is the job of a surgeon, but he needs to keep going. Suddenly, a woman arrives with her husband. Her husband is not in good condition, and this woman begs Kim to save him. The resident doctor gets involved as he wants to prove he is better than Kim. The resident doctor also does not want to listen to Kim and his advice since he is just an intern. Suddenly, the patient starts to sew oxygen fast, and they have to save him. The resident doctor thinks that they need to administer a different therapy, but Kim knows that the patient does not have much time. They start to argue about the next step. The resident doctor acts very rashly because of his pride. He is certain that he knows more than Kim, so he tries to treat the patient his way. Kim realizes that they are running out of time, so he tells the resident doctor to get lost and let him handle this. Kim is then able to stabilize the patient in the last second. Kim did not want to be rude, but the patient did not have time for them to argue about rank. After this is done, Kim continues working, and he is truly tired all the time. He barely sleeps, and he is working all hours of the day. Amy offers him some support with her kind words. Kim has to sleep if he wants to continue working, so he finds a couch and plans to take a nap for a few hours. Suddenly, there is a hiking accident and a new patient is brought in. This patient is critical and he needs to be operated on. The chairman loves this as he wants Kim to fail, so he forces Kim to perform the surgery alone with nobody there to help. Kim can either operate on the nameless man or send him to another hospital. Kim knows that if he does not get involved right away, this man is for sure dead. With no other choice, Kim decides to perform the surgery himself. He does not want the patient to die. Everyone in the hospital thinks he is just a homeless man, so they do not care about him. Kim tries his best, and he is able to save the patient. Not only that, but the patient fully recovered as the operation was a massive success. Soon Kim learns that the man he saved is called Jong Yun, and he is a world-famous painter. When the chairman and his other evil co-workers find this out, they lose their minds. They tried to run Kim, but now he's going to be more popular than ever since he saved a celebrity. The evil chairman and his helpers try to replace Kim as the main doctor for the famous painter. Jong Yun, the painter who is famous all over Korea and the world, does not want anyone else than Kim. Kim saved his life, so he wants him as the main doctor. When the painter finally recovers and leaves the hospital, he thanks Kim for saving him. He even creates a painting of Kim saving him. This painting is put up in the hospital, and since the artist is very famous, Kim becomes even more beloved. The news coverage is insane, and basically all over the country they are praising Kim for being the best doctor ever. Kim hates the attention, but he realizes he cannot change it. Hammy is really sad as she is keeping her distance from Kim. She is convinced that he loves that other girl, and she does not want to cause any problems. While talking to her friend, she learns more about Kim. It seems that while the other girl may be like Kim, it's not certain that he likes her. Amy gets hope, and her friend advises her to confess her feelings before it's too late. When Kim starts to date someone else, then it's all over. Amy goes shopping, and she's really nervous about maybe admitting her feelings for Kim. Still, she wants to finally connect with him. In the meantime, we see that Kim is tired all the time. He does not have breaks, and basically he is running on empty. Amy decides to confess her feelings, so she prepares a lot of food for Kim. She then calls him and arranges a meeting. When she arrives in his dorm, Kim looks super tired. His eyes are barely open. Amy realizes that she is now alone with Kim, and she gets really nervous. She gives him the food, and Kim loves it. He thanks Hammy, and in that second, he falls on her lap and falls asleep. Hammy, in that moment, realizes that she is truly in love with Kim, but she does not have the courage to tell him. When Kim wakes up, he misses Hammy right away. In that moment, he starts to realize that maybe he has also fallen in love with her without knowing. Later in the day, Kim has a meeting with a professor who works at the hospital. This professor has been involved with a lot of schemes in the hospital, but he tells Kim the truth. He tells him that the evil chairman wants Kim to fail as a surgeon. Kim is left worried after the meeting with the professor. Now he knows that the chairman is plotting to ruin him. He also thinks that Lee is involved. Kim does not know what he should do. Maybe it would be best for him to just quit surgery and try another field. While walking, Kim meets up with his high school friend who was also planning to become a doctor. This friend is now a police officer, and he knows about Kim. He tells Kim that his father has a condition that has been getting worse, but the doctors have been postponing his operation. Kim goes to check the father's results, and it's problematic. He could end up in the hospital any moment now. Before Kim can give his friend any advice, he gets a call. It seems that his father has already ended up in the hospital and he is in critical condition. Kim rushes to save him as fast as possible. The patient is suffering from an aortic aneurysm and there is a giant chance that he will die. Kim's high school friend is panicking. He does not want to lose his father. Kim promises that the hospital will do everything it can to save his father. Kim then tries to call the surgeons who are experts in this type of operation. The problem arises when Kim finds out that all the surgeons are at a special ceremony with the evil chairman. They are all drunk and basically the hospital is empty. There is nobody that can operate on the patient. Kim is frozen as he realizes that the patient is running out of time and he needs help. Kim tries to call everyone he can, but everyone is drunk. All the surgeons are having a party. Kim realizes if he does not take charge, the patient is dead for sure. He has mere minutes, not even an hour of life left. With no other choice, Kim prepares the operating room and gets ready. Moonjun will help him during the operation. Kim is actually very nervous as this type of operation can very easily lead to a fatality. In the meantime, the evil chairman is super happy. He will blame Kim if the patient dies, and that way Kim will be ruined forever. Kim and Moonjun start the operation, and right away, there is blood everywhere. Kim starts to lose control, and he is not sure if he can save this man. The last time we saw Kim, he was doing an operation in a totally empty hospital where all the major doctors and surgeons were out at a conference. This was a setup by the evil chairman who wants to get Kim fired. Kim started an operation on a ruptured aorta, one of the most dangerous maneuvers ever done, and he is just a first-year student. Yes, he does have knowledge from his previous life, but still, this is too much for even the most top-level surgeons in the world. Kim is now totally covered in blood, and the staff in the operating room is in a panic. Moonjun is just shaking at this point. He is of no use. Still, Kim wants to continue. This is not something where he can just relax and let go. He must save the patient no matter what. The aorta is totally ruptured and the patient is bleeding out. His blood pressure is falling fast, and if Kim does not hurry in repairing the damage, the patient will go into cardiac arrest and die. Moonjun starts to apologize as he holds onto the patient. He feels sorry because he is not more skilled. Kim tries to calm him down and he continues to look for the ruptured aorta. He must find it and repair it as fast as possible. They continue with the operation and soon Kim realizes that the patient has lost way too much blood. The only problem is there is no more blood in the hospital at this moment. How does a hospital run out of blood? That's like a pizza place running out of flour. Kim keeps going and tries to repair as much of the damage as he can. He sees that the time is running out as the blood pressure of the patient goes down. Suddenly, Professor and Dr. Yu Young-soo arrive. He is a pretty child doctor who specializes in liver, so this is not his area. Still, Dr. Yu saw that there was some trouble at the hospital, and he decided to come and help. Kim is glad that a more experienced doctor has arrived. Dr. Yu will help in any way he can, but he is very impressed with Kim and his skills. He actually motivates Kim to lead the operation and finish it off. The medical staff is shocked. They have never seen a doctor be an assistant to a first-year resident who just started to work. Kim is able to repair the aorta with the help of Dr. Yu and the other staff. Still, Dr. Yu is beyond impressed. He has never seen a surgeon move like this, and he really thinks that Kim is a true and pure genius. Kim and Yu are able to finish up the operation with no more problems. Kim leads the way the entire time, every move being elegant and precise. Professor Yu just looked in total shock. Finally, the aorta was repaired, no other internal organs were damaged, and the patient was totally fine. Kim was able to save Chol-woo's father after all, and he did it all by himself basically. Dr. Yu just kind of washed and hiked him up. After the surgery is done, Kim is beyond tired. He has not slept in days, and this operation took hours and hours. Professor Yu once more praises him for his insane skills and tells him to rest for a bit. He needs it. Professor Yu was also aware of what the evil chairman wanted to do and how he really wants to get rid of Kim. Professor Yu now thinks that this is a totally insane idea and that Kim should be admired. He will literally become the best surgeon of all time. Kim later talks with Chol-woo, who is now in tears. He is beyond grateful that Kim saved his father's life. Kim wants to know if Chol-woo heard from Lee Sang-min, since they were best friends in high school. Chol-woo then admits that Lee Sang-min has been totally ignoring his calls and hanging up on him every time. Kim is now furious with Lee Yun-more. Kim has known that Lee Sang-min has been working behind his back and that he also wants him gone from the hospital. Kim arranges a meeting with Lee so that they can finally talk in the open. Before that, Kim thinks about his reality and his past life. He is still young and he does not smoke. This might prevent him from getting cancer like in his previous life. Still, he will always be careful about his health in the future and he can cure anything if he catches it early. Finally, the two have their confrontation in the park. The moment Kim spots Lee Sang-min, he knows Lee is full of shit. He has that evil smile that is a totally fake appearance. While Kim at one point thought they were friends, now he realizes that Lee Sang-min never cared about him. Kim confronts Lee about ignoring Chol-woo and his dying father. Lee Sang-min pretends to not know anything about it. Finally, Kim snaps and hits Lee over and over again. Now Lee Sang-min reveals his true face. He tells Kim that his father wanted him out of the hospital, but Lee wants something else. He wants to ruin Kim forever. Lee Sang-min has always been second, and he wants to get his revenge on Kim once and for all. Kim leaves and tells him that this will never happen in his lifetime. Dr. Yu has a meeting with some other doctors. They are all talking about what happened with Kim at the hospital. The doctor is shocked to find out that Kim did the operation himself, and that he also did several crazy moves that no first-year resident should be able to do. Dr. Yu explains to everyone that Kim is not only a genius, but that he's going to make their hospital really famous. At first, some of them do not believe it, but soon they get really interested. While this is happening, Kim is just doing his work and trying to relax a bit after that difficult operation, and also that confrontation with Lee. He now has to be really careful cause he knows the chairman is after him, and also Lee is trying to take him down. Suddenly, all the doctors arrive, and they are losing their minds about Kim and what he did. They all want him to work for them and to specialize in their field. This is not something a resident does, so Kim is totally confused and kinda scared. Still, it's nice that the doctors are this interested in him, and also it means that his job is much more secure. Dr. Yu especially said that to him during lunch. You said that no matter what, the chairman wants Kim will remain in the hospital no matter what. Kim does not want anyone risking their jobs for him. In the meantime, the chairman is not having a great time. He is drinking a lot and he is pissed off. Kim totally ruined his plan, and not only that, he made things worse. He was so good that now he cannot be fired. Usually, it is very difficult to fire someone from the medical field since the residents are very protected. The residents always have to do a very hard job, and they get paid almost nothing, so they have a lot of rights in the workplace. Now Kim has become a celebrity, and he is literally the most famous dude in the hospital with all the crazy operations he has done. The chairman cannot possibly find a reason to fire him, and now it's even worse than when he was unknown. Lee arrives, and of course the chairman blames him. The chairman really hates his son, and he tells Lee that he is a total failure and an animal. He is always second, and there is nothing special about him. Lee, of course, just becomes more insane because of this, and he promises his father that he will get rid of Kim no matter what. While he says that he has a very creepy smile on his face. Like we already know Lee murdered his brother, Kim should be very worried. This dude is yandere to the max, and you might take him out with a scalpel. Some time passes, and now Kim is in a lot of trouble, not with the chairman and not with Lee, but with the doctors that love him. Basically, since he is such a superstar, they slowly start giving him more and more tasks. He calls one of the doctors and tells him about the operation, and then the doctor tells Kim to do it himself. He can handle it since he is a genius. Basically, because he is so talented now and the entire hospital staff is using him, he is literally doing operations left, right, and center, and not having any moment to rest. For Kim, this is a bit too much since he did not want to just be working for others. Also, it's insane that experienced and older doctors are giving their operation missions to Kim, who just started to work. One day, while having lunch with Professor Yu, they talk about Kang Mekl. He is the doctor that really helped out Kim, and Kim actually saved his life when he passed out during an operation. Yu tells Kim that he has not heard from Kang in a while and that he is not answering his phone. Kim remembers that in the original timeline around this period, Dr. Kang Mekl had serious problems with his liver and went away for a while. Kim continues to work at the hospital, and he is giving his all every single day, even helps out other residents who are just starting out. While working one day, he is approached by a younger resident. He tells Kim that an international patient has asked for Kim specifically. Kim is a bit confused by this, but he realizes that he has kind of become a bit famous in the hospital. He goes inside and he spots Miss Amy, the leader of the pharma company Heinz and his business partner at times. Miss Amy is at the hospital and her legs look pretty beat up. It seems that she took quite a nasty fall. Miss Amy is happy to see Kim, and he gets to work on her legs. The injuries are not serious at all, so she should be fine, but something is clearly bothering Amy. She tells Kim that she would like to stay in their best room at the hospital. Kim is lost since she just has a cut on her knee and there is no need to stay in the hospital. Miss Amy once more begs him to let her stay, and Kim allows it. Kim also asks her if something is bothering her, but before Amy can answer, Kim has to rush over to help another patient in need. Later that day, Kim comes to visit Amy, and she is loving her room. She has the best food and an amazing view outside. She literally bought the best room like it's a hotel. Kim and Amy talk, and now she is finally ready to tell him what is bothering her. Amy drops the bombshell that she might be getting fired really soon. Kim is shocked by this. Amy is literally one of the leaders of the company, like what's happening. Kim once again asks Miss Amy what is bothering her, and finally she admits it all. She explains that she is getting fired or probably will lose everything and the company will fail soon. Kim is so surprised, and he needs her to explain more. But she made billions from their last project, and the company has always been doing great business. What changed so fast? Amy then reveals that the company is losing money by the minute, and that basically all the projects that they started after Kim left failed. The project called SD54, which was supposed to make billions, has been shelved since it was causing heart problems in patients. Kim remembers that in the original timeline, the SD54 project earned zillions of dollars and was popular worldwide. It seems that he has changed the timeline once more. Now that company where he put in some stocks is about to be worth less than an old shoe. Amy is crying and she begs Kim for his help. She will pay him whatever he wants if he just takes a look at the files and the project. He has to find a problem with it since he is the boy wonder with a genius mind. This is the actual reason Amy came to stay at the hospital, and of course she has the files on the project with her. Without giving him time to think, she hands over the papers to Kim and waits for his answer. Kim starts to look at the papers and very quickly finds a problem. It seems that the SD54 project had so many problems because of the dosage. The dosage problem is what caused those side effects in patients. Kim realizes that he can solve this issue, but he needs money, so he asks Miss Amy for 5 billion won. She of course agrees to those terms without even blinking. Kim decides to work on the idea and help her out. After their meeting, he is super happy since he earned himself a lot of money without doing a lot of work. Soon enough, he gets a text message on his phone. It's from Lee Young-hee. If you forgot who that is, that's Kim's wife from his previous life. They were married, but it failed and they got a divorce. Now in this new timeline, she once more is in love with him and wants to date him. Kim and Yeon-hee arrange to meet at night near the hospital. Kim finishes up with his work and sits on a bench waiting for Yeon-hee. Finally, she arrives and she comes with a lot of gifts, mainly food. Yeon-hee was worried about Kim, so she wanted him to have some food. Kim is thankful, but he wants to know why she wanted to meet so urgently. Finally, Yeon-hee gets to the point. She likes Kim and wants to seriously date him. She has had emotions for him for quite some time, and now she wants a clear answer. Kim looks at her face. She is blushing, and it's very apparent that this was a hard thing for her to admit. Kim thinks about his original life with her and how many mistakes he made. Maybe this time it can be better. Maybe this time they can work out. It would not be such a bad thing to date her once more. The problem is that in this moment, Kim realizes he has very real feelings for Lee Hae-mi. He tells Yeon-hee that he cannot start a relationship with her since he has feelings for someone else. They part ways after that, and Kim is now determined to confess his feelings to Hae-mi. 2 months pass, and Kim continues to work hard at the hospital and also on that project by Miss Amy. One day, a sick kid arrives at the hospital. He has a condition where his blood does not retain its form and his body is basically fallen apart from the inside. Kim gets tasked with working with the kid, but he is not so sure. There are rumors that his mother is a very mean person to the hospital staff and she has sued many hospitals. Basically, a doctor does not solve her son's issues, she sues the entire hospital. Kim is pretty worried about it, but for some reason the mother wants him to treat her son. He will have to get an urgent surgery and there is hope that the process will work out. Kim has to be very careful so that he does not complicate the kid's condition and also piss off his mother. Kim performs the surgery on the child and it actually goes over pretty well. It's a long process, but it works out. Now the young boy has to recover and hopefully his condition will not get any worse. It's very important that he gets the right dosage of his medication, and that his blood does not coagulate again and create blood clots. When he is done with the surgery, Kim runs into Lee Sang-min, the creepy weirdo who is literally in a totally different story. Like, let's be real, Kim is having the best life saving people, and Lee Sang-min is constantly in an episode of Tokyo Ghoul emo ass. Lee Sang-min basically tells Kim that it would be a shame if something happened to the kid and his blood turned into poison. This is a very clear threat, and Kim loses his mind and tells Lee to back off. Hours later, Hae-mi shows up. She's all dressed up as always, and the moment Kim spots her, he starts to blush. While she tries to hide her emotions, it's very clear that she is still into Kim. Kim plans to confess his feelings to her, so he tries to flirt a bit. Suddenly, he is called back by the other doctors. It seems that the kid is now much worse. Kim rushes over there and he sees that the kid's blood is once more turning into clots. Something happened, but it really shouldn't have. Kim then realizes that there is a problem with the anticoagulation serum. Someone must have changed the dose. Kim is able to stabilize the young boy for the moment, but he now is determined to find out what really happened with his blood. Days go by and the young boy becomes more stable. Kim orders the medical staff to be very careful around him and the dosage of his medicine. Kim also launches an investigation in the meantime while the boy recovers. He wants to know what happened to his blood. Kim goes to talk with the professors and doctors that work at the blood center and tells them to do a complete investigation on the blood to see what happens. In the meantime, the mom thanks Kim for saving her son's life, and also the son really likes Kim. The mom admits that Kim is the first doctor her son has liked and that she is very grateful to him. After some time, Kim gets the results back and they are very strange. It seems that the boy's blood suddenly became toxic and started to act very oddly. There is no further evidence, but at this point, Kim knows what happened. Kim goes to visit Lee Sang-min in his room and tells him to get down from his bed. Lee Sang-min gets down and Kim asks him if he tampered with the anticoagulation serum that was used to treat the young boy. Lee acts stupid and like he has no idea what Kim is talking about. This pisses Kim off even more and straight up hits Lee in the jaw. Kim tells him that this is the final line he crossed and that Kim will do anything he can to get Lee fired. Shit, he may put him in prison for trying to murder an innocent patient. It's clear that this was Lee trying to sabotage Kim. Kim leaves and we see Lee bleeding from his nose and laughing like a literal anime villain. This dude is out of control. Kim launches a giant investigation into the blood serum and what happened to it. He wants to find some clear evidence that Lee Sang-min did it and he wants it done fast. Kim gets everyone involved, and since he is kinda a celebrity around the hospital it works, and people help him out. The problem is that they cannot find any clear evidence and they cannot find Lee Sang-min on any of the video cameras in the hospital. Basically, there is no proof that he did anything even if Kim knows it was him. Luckily, the boy gets better and he leaves the hospital in good health, and his mother is beyond grateful to Kim. While Kim is not satisfied with the investigation, now he knows how dangerous Lee is, so he will be extra careful in the future. In the meantime, Lee Sang-min returns to talk with his evil father, the chairman. It seems that both of them agreed to this plan where he was supposed to poison the boy. Still, the chairman had to clean up his mess and cover up the evidence. The chairman tells Lee that next time he better be careful or otherwise he will not be protected. Also, the evil chairman has some news for Lee. He will be the one doing the operation on the prime minister. Lee Sang-min will not be the lead in the operation room, but he will help the lead surgeon. This will be a big deal for his reputation, and he better not mess this up. The following day, there is a big meeting of the board of directors of the entire hospital. Lee Sang-min is also there. She is now a very powerful figure in this group and she has influence. Her father, the evil chairman, hates this as he wants her to be totally out. He especially hates it since Lee Sang-min is determined to expose Lee and get him fired. Previously, if some of you forgot, Lee literally confessed to Sang-min that he poisoned their older brother and caused his death. Since then, Sang-min has been determined to take him down. The chairman tries to yell at her, but Sang-min remains determined and cold towards her father. Also, the chairman has a private meeting with the prime minister who has a very interesting request. The prime minister is the same man that Kim saved on a plane once, and he wants Kim to be in charge of his operation, like the lead. The chairman is shocked by this since Kim is just a resident, but the prime minister remains convinced that Kim is a genius who should handle all of his medical situations. This basically ruins the chairman's plan to make Lee become a star in the hospital. The evil chairman realizes that there are two people who can cause him ruin, his daughter Sang-min and Kim, the superstar surgeon who just has too much clout. The operation on the prime minister will happen in a few days, and now everybody knows that Kim will lead it. Kim is shocked when he finds out, and he even tries to get out of it. Still, with no other choice, Kim accepts this responsibility and decides to prepare. The operation is not that hard at all. It's not a serious procedure, but still Kim has to be careful since everyone is so hyped. The medical staff in the hospital literally treats him like he is LeBron James getting ready for a big game. They do not let him work too hard, they help him out all the time, they want him to rest as much as possible. Everyone loves Kim, but there is one person he really likes. Kim meets up with Lee Sang-min while they are both at work. This time he does not hold back and our boy just starts flirting with her. First he asks her to go on a coffee break with him, and when she tells him she is too busy, he asks her out to dinner. Not just any dinner, he wants to take her to her favorite restaurant. Lee Sang-min is now more red than a chili pepper. She realizes what is happening, but she cannot believe it. Finally, they agree on a dinner date that same day. Lee Sang-min goes to talk with one of her friends and explains the entire situation. The friend is certain that Kim will confess his feelings to Sang-min tonight. For that reason, she decides to help Sang-min dress in the best way possible. Sang-min puts on red lipstick, a red dress, and she looks fire. Kim, on the other hand, is also nervous, and he decides to dress to impress. This is a very major moment, and he wants it to be perfect. Both Sang-min and Kim leave their houses, and they prepare to meet up. Kim is in a rush as he does not want to be late. He is almost running. Suddenly, while alone in the street, he realizes that a car is coming right at him. With no moment to dodge, Kim is hit by the car straight up. He goes flying, and the last we see of Kim, he is on the ground, totally busted up. This had to be Lee Sang-min. That weirdo had to ruin everything. Lee Sang-min tries to call Kim numerous times, but he does not pick up. As time goes on, she gets a bit worried. Still, a part of her thinks that maybe Kim had to go into an emergency operation or something like that. Lee Sang-min sits down in the restaurant and waits for him. She waits and waits, but Kim does not come. She then starts to get a bit more worried. She knows that Lee Sang-min is a dangerous freak and maybe he could have done something. Still, Sang-min does not want to think the worst. That all changes when Lee Sang-min comes down and sits near her. He is looking more creepy than usual, his eyes are dead, and he seems so insane. Sang-min once again tells him that she will take him down for what he did to their older brother. Lee Sang-min laughs at her and tells her to be more worried about Kim. A lot of things could have happened to him. Lee leaves and Hammy is now in panic mode. She calls everyone in the hospital and also Kim's best friend, Moonjin. He tells her that Kim was super hyped for their date and left hours ago. Lee Hammy falls to the ground as she realizes that Kim is in serious trouble. Lee Sang-min arrives to see his evil chairman father. They talk about the situation and it's clear that they made another deal. Lee promised his father that he would be the lead in the operation, and for that reason he went out to basically delete Kim. The chairman is happy. Finally his son did something right. Lee Sang-min is in his psycho phase and he is also happy. The Prime Minister arrives soon to ask if his operation will go as planned. Just before the chairman tells him there has been a change of plans, someone arrives. This special someone that leaves the chairman and Lee Sang-min shocked. It's none other than Kim himself. Dude is in his Jesus arc cause he has come back from the grave. Kim stands there and he is totally fine, determined even. Lee Sang-min and his father look like they are on an episode of Punk'd, and Ashton Kutcher just arrived to tell them it was just a prank, bros. They are shocked and the chairman right away looks at his son Lee. Like dude cannot even delete a person with a car without messing up. Lee Sang-min remembers clearly that he hit Kim and he also knows that Kim knows he did it. Kim tells the Prime Minister that he can get ready for the operation. Kim then looks at Lee Sang-min and his eyes burn with rage. Kim knows and Lee is now shaking like a leaf in the wind. Bro knows he is in deep, deep trouble. Kim really said, if you are going to hit me, make sure I stay down. Bro is going to make Lee regret ever being born. Kim goes to meet the other doctors and they get ready for the operation. Okay, but for real, how is this man standing? He got hit by a literal car hours ago. The operation on the Prime Minister begins and Kim does a fantastic job. He impresses all the doctors that are in the operating room with him. It's a routine operation, so it does not last long. Kim finishes everything up and the nearby doctors tell him how awesome he is. In that moment, it's like Kim totally falls apart and in the operating room, he just passes out. The doctors start to panic and they run towards him to help right away. Suddenly, Kim finds himself floating in space. It's like a form of afterlife. His body feels totally weightless and he realizes that he probably died once more. Kim cannot believe that this happened to him once, especially since he was doing so much good. Still, he does not want to think about it. He is too tired from everything. Kim closes his eyes and starts to drift away. In that moment, an angel shows up, that same angel that gave him a chance to relive his life. She hugs him and starts to heal him. The angel tells Kim that there is much for him to do and that she and her brother will always protect him. He saved their lives and they will repay that. While healing Kim, the angel notices Lee Sang-min and she knows what he did. In that moment, the angel curses Lee and tells his spirit it will not have peace until it finds redemption. Oh boy, Lee is about to have a major headache for the rest of his life. There is a flash of bright light and Kim wakes up in a hospital bed. He tries to get up, but his body is still in pain. Kim notices that he is fine and that he somehow survived the entire situation. He also realizes that Hammy has been sleeping by his side the entire time. The moment she wakes up, she starts to cry and she hugs Kim. Kim is so happy that she is with him and in that moment realizes just how much she has always cared about him. Kim cannot wait any longer and he tells Hammy that he really likes her. Hammy in that moment is so upset and confused that she tells him she hates him. Of course, she hates just cause he made her worry so much. Hammy is now in tears. She tells Kim that she waited 7 years for him to finally say something. Hammy tells Kim that she loves him with everything she's got. Finally, we don't have to wait 50 more chapters for a confession. Kim continues to recover in bed. While he was able to survive, his injuries are not that minor. He has to take it easy for a while and he will be on a break from medical work. Kim likes this since he can now finally rest. Still, he does not remember anything that happened after he got hit by the car and he has no idea what happened. In his quiet moments, he starts to think about Lee Sang-min and how he likely attacked him with a car. Kim is still not certain, but soon Hammy arrives and they talk. Kim invites her to rest in bed with him, and after a romantic moment, Hammy tells him something major. She is certain that Lee was involved in Kim getting hit by his car and Hammy is scared of Lee. Kim now realizes that his theory is totally correct. He makes a promise to Hammy that nothing will happen to him and that he will deal with Lee Sang-min with no more issues. Dr. Minchul finally returns from his vacation and he is furious at the evil chairman. He knows that the chairman tried to sabotage Kim. Minchul is wild enough that he will threaten anybody to protect his friends. In the meantime, Nurse Yenny gets involved with Lee Sang-min. Yes, that sounds as crazy as it is. Basically, Lee now looks like a scarecrow. He has been having nightmares all the time. He spends his nights drinking at a local bar. This is where he meets Yenhi, and they start dating. Lee Sang-min thinks that he is losing his mind and he still hates Kim. Time passes and life for Kim gets much better. After his accident, things return to normal. He is finally dating Hammy. His work at the hospital is never better and Lee Sang-min has stopped causing problems for him. Kim focuses a lot of his time on his work with Miss Amy and doing research papers. The evil chairman is still determined to get rid of Kim, but that is going to be a lot harder since Kim is starting to publish insane research in the most famous medical journals in the world. Manga paper, one of the most famous medical journals in the world, published Kim's work. Kim and Miss Amy have been doing incredible things with their research. Kim has also published several medical papers, and basically everyone thinks he is a genius. The evil chairman had the plan to hype up Lee Sang-min, but now Kim is working with Nam Paper. He is in a totally different league. The evil chairman is now in total shambles. Kim is basically the superstar of his hospital. He is also earning pretty good money, and life has never been better. The evil chairman cannot even stop him. He is rising that fast. A year passes and Kim is just rising all the time and really improving his status in the hospital. One day, while Kim is loving life at the hospital, he runs into an old man. This old man asks for his help and Kim gives him directions. Soon enough, Kim realizes that this old man is going to the VIP section of the hospital. Hammy then arrives and turns out this old man is her grandfather. Kim is shocked by this, since if the old man is the grandfather of Hammy, it means he is one of the richest people in the country. Lee Hae-jeong is the name Hammy's grandfather. He's a chairman and a millionaire. He basically controls large portions of the Korean economy, and he is the real chairman of this hospital. His evil son is the one in charge at the moment, but Hae-jeong is the one who founded the hospital. He is also very lovable and nice, especially to Hammy. Kim cannot believe that he has just met the famous Hae-jeong, so he is really nervous. He can barely talk. Also, since he is dating Hammy, he does not know how to introduce himself. The old man seems to like Kim, and he tells Hammy that Kim is going to have a bright future. In the meantime, Kim is called into a meeting with Dr. Manchin, and he learns that a famous chairman has arrived at the hospital. This chairman has a liver problem, and he needs an urgent operation. His daughter will be the liver donor, and Kim will operate on her. Kim is honored, but soon he learns that Lee Sang-min will be working with him. Kim is now really nervous since Lee is literally an insane person who has murdered people before. Kim forms an uneasy alliance with Lee Sang-min since they have to work together on this operation. Lee Sang-min acts all chill and nice like always. Mind you, he has already murdered his brother, choked his puppy, tried to poison that kid's blood, and he also hit Kim with his car. Yeah, Lee Sang-min is the definition of a menace. Kim meets the chairman and his daughter. They seem like truly lovely people. The daughter really wants to help her father, and he is pretty nervous about her being okay. Kim and the other doctors promise everything will be okay. That same night, Hammy and Kim agree to go on a date. Kim leads Hammy to a very fancy restaurant, and it's obvious he plans to propose to her. Even Hammy realizes what is happening, but she wants Kim to ask her the big question. Kim is pretty oblivious to relationships, so he gets really nervous fast. Kim tries to ask her the question several times but fails. At the end of the dinner, they kiss, and Hammy tells him to ask her directly next time and she will accept. The following day, Kim gets ready for the operation. It's going to be a major moment in his career. The chairman is worried about something wrong happening during the operation. His daughter convinces him that everything will be totally fine. That is some sinister foreshadowing right there. We have all seen enough episodes of Grey's Anatomy. When they are so chill about operations, it means something is going to go horribly wrong. The operation finally begins, and it's going to be a long process. Kim and Lee Sang-min begin working on the daughter. They have to remove her liver and then put it into her father since they are a perfect genetic match. Kim is very nervous about Lee Sang-min doing some wild shit during the operation. Kim knows he is dealing with a literal psycho. While Kim is doing great work, things are not looking good on the other side. Dr. Munchin and the others are having problems with the father, and they demand that Kim goes there and helps them. Kim is scared to leave the patient with Lee, but the operation is totally over. They just need to bring the daughter into her room and let her rest. Kim has no other choice but to leave and help the other doctors. Kim and the other doctors finally stabilize the father when the horrible news hit. The other nurses and doctors arrive and tell Kim that his patient has gone into cardiac arrest. Kim is frozen in fear. The operation was literally over and she was fine. Lee Sang-min did it again, goddamn. Kim arrives and tries to save the daughter, but her heart has not been beating for 10 minutes. You cannot believe what happened, and the other doctors are totally confused. They have no idea what just happened. Everything was going good, but then suddenly she crashed. Kim is totally frozen from the shock, and soon the daughter is announced to be dead. After some time, the father starts to blame Kim. He accuses Kim of ending his daughter's life. Kim does not have any explanation. Everything went perfectly during the operation. He truly does not understand what happened. Since this is a rich chairman, the news spreads all over the place. The evil chairman of the hospital is determined to put all the blame on Kim and get him fired. Kim feels totally lost and confused. He cannot understand that he lost a totally healthy patient after a great operation. Hammy is worried about him and tries to make him happy. Nobody blames him from the doctors and professors. Everyone knows that Kim did all the parts correctly. Kim starts to think that Lee Sangman was somehow involved like always. Detectives try to find out what happened, but they do not find any evidence of a crime. Kim confronts Lee Sangman about what happened. Lee first pretends like he has no idea what Kim is talking about, but soon drops hints that he did something with the air in the tubes. Kim realizes that Lee caused air bubbles to form in the veins and created an embolism. This for sure ended the life of the young woman. Kim cannot believe that Lee Sangman would go this far. Bro was past redemption the first time he committed a murder, now this is just insane. The writer better not do some Darth Vader redemption bullshit. Also, he literally acts like Riddler from the Batman every time he is in the room with Kim. Kim is now in big trouble. He has to prove his innocence with medical records that basically do not exist. While all the doctors and professors tries to convince the evil chairman that Kim did nothing wrong, he is determined to get Kim into as much trouble as possible. In Korea, these types of cases are very serious, and when a doctor gets accused by a patient, they have to prove that they did nothing wrong. The problem is that Kim knows Lee caused the accident, but he cannot prove it. A few months pass, and Kim is basically in and out of court all the time. The father of the victim has accused him of basically murder, so he has to defend himself. The Prime Minister, a man Kim saved in the past, gets involved and tries to help Kim since he is certain Kim did nothing wrong. Finally, after a long process, Kim is able to defend himself from murder accusations. The only problem is that he has to get suspended for 6 months. Basically, his career has now taken a massive hit and people have started to think he is not that good. Kim feels totally depressed. He has lost everything once more. He tried to live a better life, but this time a literal psycho had to ruin all of it. Some time passes and Kim goes to his parents dejected. He cries and tells them to forgive him. His parents are supportive as always and they try to get him to be more positive. After a few days, Miss Amy invites him to dinner. Kim accepts the invitation, and while talking, Miss Amy tells Kim that she has a job for him. It's a doctor position in New York at a hospital called Joseph's. This hospital is famous all over the planet. Amy and Kim talk about this new position. He cannot believe that this is possible. He does not have his medical license for a year because of the incident. Amy explains that he can just get another license in America. She also explains that Kim is world famous because of his research papers and his work with the company. Other doctors and hospitals all over the world want to work with him no matter what. Kim still feels a bit afraid since he failed a patient. Amy then takes him on a trip. They go visit some nearby mountains where they talk about life. Amy explains that often our biggest problems are so small when we get some perspective and relax. Kim is finally able to move on and he accepts the job, but on one condition. He wants to return to Daly Hospital in 2 years when he becomes a professor. Basically, Kim is not done with Lee and the evil chairman. He wants to go to America, get his clout up, and then crush Lee into the ground. Some days pass and Kim gets ready for his trip to New York. He is excited about this opportunity since Miss Amy basically saved him from being jobless. He is a bit sad since he is leaving Amy behind. They go together to the airport, and while Kim buys tickets, Amy is in tears. They just started to date, and now he is leaving and she is not sure when he will be back. Kim hugs Amy and tells her he is going to be back in 2 years. Also, he proposes to her and promises to officially marry her when he gets back. Amy is again crying, but this time from happiness. Kim then ships off and flies to New York. It's a long journey, and he is pretty excited about it. Soon enough, he arrives there, and he is greeted by Miss Amy. It seems that she will also be living there, and she wants to help him. Miss Amy explains that the work will not be easy, and that Kim has to prove himself since he is a new person. Kim is happy about it, and he cannot wait to start. Kim gets a fancy new apartment, and Miss Amy lives in the penthouse above him. His apartment is spacious and it feels like home. Still, he misses Amy, so he starts to test her right away. The following day, Kim finally goes to the hospital where he will be working for the next 2 years. While there, he meets President James, the owner of the hospital. James is nice and all, but it's clear that he will not have Kim's back. President James basically wants Kim to prove himself to see if he is really worth it. Kim starts to get introduced to the hospital staff, and right away it seems this will be a lot harder than he expected. People there are not friendly at all towards him. They are even really racist since he is from Korea. The classic American dream, come to their country and be bullied by their idiots. Kim must meet another Korean doctor, the only one in the hospital. He's called Jong Gil, but he is not friendly at all. He tells Kim to speak English and to leave him alone. Kim realizes that this will be a real challenge, but he is ready for it. Dr. Michael is one of the people that Kim will be working with. Turns out Dr. Michael is a massive racist, and in general, he's a horrible person. He starts to insult Kim and even calls him monkey. Like, doesn't this hospital have some sort of rules against this? This isn't the 1504. How is this idiot allowed to say this? Kim tries to be nice and work with the other doctors, but they do not want to give him any work, even if he is an elite surgeon. This basically leaves Kim just chilling every day. He does not have to do any real medical work since his co-workers aren't just racists. The people are all horrible to him, and they just ignore him. Kim just spends the next 2 months writing essays and gets published in the best journals in the world. He has become famous all over the world for his research and is basically one of the best in his field. This is not something the others expected at all. Soon enough, President James finds out that Kim did, and he cannot believe it. Multiple hospitals all around the world now want Kim to work for them and do research in their companies. President James now realizes he has to take better care of Kim and help him out more. Kim is invited into a meeting with President James where the president is basically begging him to stay. Kim then tells James that Dr. Michael has stopped him for working as a doctor, so he had a lot of spare time on his hands. President James is now beyond pissed and he calls in Dr. Michael into his office for a good roasting. Kim is able to repair his reputation in the hospital as people learn he is an insane genius. Dr. Michael cannot believe it. He is now convinced that Kim has an IQ of 500. No normal human could do such insane research in such a short amount of time. Kim really flexed on the haters. Kim returns back to his apartment and we see that his life is pretty lonely. He calls Hemi all the time as they are trying to make a long-distance relationship work. Still, he feels sad as he misses her. One night, he gets a call from Miss Amy, and she wants to go out to dinner with him. Oh no, is a love triangle going to develop soon? They go exploring New York, and it's really fun. Kim did not get a chance to learn about the city, so Miss Amy decides to give him a tour. It's an insane city with a lot to see, so Kim loves it. Finally, they go to have some dinner in a fancy restaurant. While talking, Kim realizes that Miss Amy has connections all over the city. She literally knows mob bosses and criminals. It seems that her family is very well connected in New York. The following day, Kim finally meets Dr. David. Kim is amazed since the doctor looks like one of those hot DILF doctors from the medical shows. Kim and Dr. David go exploring the hospital and meet new patients. Kim does not want to stand out too much to cause any problems for himself in the future. Dr. David starts to think that maybe Kim is just good at research and not real medical work. He invites him to watch an operation train. Kim is losing his mind now since everyone is acting like he is some fresh student who has never operated on anyone. This is too boring for him. He literally knows better than most doctors in the hospital. He does have 2 lifetimes of experience. Months pass and things change for Kim. Since he has done so much famous research and earned so much money, the people in the hospital now respect him a whole lot more. There is no more racist comments being made towards him, and he has some peace. The problem is that Kim is so beyond bored. He has not proven his skills as a doctor, and their people think he is only good at writing medical research, not doing operations. Still, Kim does not want to cause any problems, so he continues to be subtle and hardworking on his research. We are then introduced to Mary. She's a mob boss. Basically, she is well known all over New York as having the best criminal gang. Mary and her bodyguards are making a deal when they are suddenly attacked by a rival gang. They are shot up and Mary gets injured badly. She is bleeding out and the bodyguards take her to a hospital, Sturgis Hospital. There the bodyguards cause a massive mess with the other doctors. They order someone to operate on Mary and fast. She does not have much time left. Bodyguards are furious at the doctors since they are trying to slow down the situation. Dr. Michael, the racist idiot, gets it the worse. He gets hit full force in his jaw and falls down the ground. Everybody like that. Dr. David arrives, but he has a different operation scheduled at the same time. Also, he is terrified of the bodyguards. He does not know how to handle a situation this crazy. One of the bodyguards even fires off their gun inside of the hospital to warn everyone about the serious situation. At that moment, Kim arrives and tries to calm the situation. Kim is cool and collected. He walks up to the bodyguard and tells him to calm down. He will take charge of the operation and try to save Mary. Dr. David is shocked by this, and he cannot believe how calm Kim is. Kim tells the bodyguard that Mary has 10% chance of survival, but he will try his hardest to save her. Kim and the other nurses take Mary into the operating room and the surgery begins. Kim now has to use all his insane skills to try and save this woman, otherwise he and the other patients and doctors in this hospital might get shot by gangsters. As always, Kim is beyond perfect in the operation room. He works fast and with insane precision. The operation lasts for 10 hours. At the end, Dr. David comes in to help, but he is shocked to find out that Kim did the entire operation on his own. He managed to perform the surgery with no problems, and he saves Mary the gangster. Everyone in the hospital is shocked, and once more Kim becomes the talk of the town. He is in newspapers and is branded as a hero of the people. In the meantime, Lee Sangman is still a weirdo that follows Kim around like a Taylor Swift stan. He reads newspapers about him and laughs to himself like a James Bond villain. Lee Sangman is kind of hoping this dude gets deleted fast. He is just boring at this point. Let Kim live his life. Time passes and we find out that Yemni is still dating Lee Sangman. Yemni still has mixed feelings about Kim since she confessed her love, but now she's with Lee. The problem is that Lee is literally an insane person, so their relationship is kinda strange. He keeps having insane nightmares and acting all strange while pretending all is good. Bro will wake up in a sweat after hours of crying in his sleep and then say, "Yep, I'm all good." Also, for some weird reason, Lee Sangmin misses Kim. Is this bro in love with Kim? Kim is now a celebrity around the world, and his popularity in the hospital is beyond insane. People there respect him, President James loves him, and he can do whatever he wants. He has now proven that he is the best of the best. Not only is he a genius at medical research, but he also performs miracle surgeries. Still, Kim feels pretty lonely. He misses Hemi all the time. One day, something amazing happens. While he is chilling in his house, he hears the doorbell ring. Kim opens the door and Hemi is there. She decides to come and surprise him with a visit. Kim is beyond happy and he thinks he is dreaming. Kim and Hemi are finally reunited and they decide to go on a fun date together. She missed him a lot, so she wanted to spend an entire day with him. Kim and Hemi go exploring the city, laughing together, and just loving life. After a while, it comes time for Hemi to go back home. Kim is so sad to see her leave, but still he has to let her go to complete his mission. He promises to be back as soon as possible. In the meantime, Lee Sangmin is in his own world. Bro is literally in an episode of Tokyo Ghoul at all times. While everyone is having fun and doing doctor things, this man is having demon nightmares where he sees spirits that are calling him a destroyer. Of course, he thinks that he is now sick, as his mother was in the past. She had a mental illness, so now Lee thinks he is also sick. What he does not know is that literal angels have cursed him because he was such a douchebag. While that is happening, Kim gets a very interesting invitation. He is picked up by some mobsters, and they deliver him to a fancy building. There he meets Mary, the mobster boss he has saved. She wants to thank him for saving her life. The two sit down and have some dinner. It's very clear that Mary has a thing for Kim and is flirting with him. This dude, Kim, just attracts women like a magnet wherever he goes. They have a long dinner, and Kim is uncomfortable the entire time. It's clear to him that Mary is flirting with him, but he has to remain faithful to Hemi. Mary really likes and even considers kidnapping him. Finally, after a while of them talking, Mary offers him $2 million as a reward for saving her life. Kim rejects him since he is an idiot and also has honor. Mary is surprised that someone would reject that amount of money, but Kim explains it's his duty. After a while, Kim thanks Mary for the dinner and leaves. Mary, on the other hand, is very interested in him and his lore. She asks her bodyguard to find out more about Kim. Soon enough, the bodyguard returns with some very interesting info, especially regarding the evil chairman that tried to ruin Kim. Mary sees this as a chance to repay her debt, so she orders her men to find out more about this situation. Mary might be Kim's secret weapon in the future, and he does not even know it yet. Jong Gil-soo, the only Korean doctor at the hospital, is a longtime friend with the evil chairman. The evil chairman learns that Kim is now even more popular than before, and he does not want that. He wants Kim ruined, so he orders Jong to sabotage Kim and ruin his career. Jong, on the other hand, seems to have different opinions about Kim than the chairman. While Jong and Kim are not friends, Jong does have respect for Kim and his skills. Also, Jong remembers how cruel and horrible the evil chairman was to him while they were both in college together. 1 year goes by, and Kim just continues to rise. Everyone loves him, and they think he is the best doctor of all time. He gets a lot of money from his research, and he does some insane operations. A full year goes by, and Kim just keeps grinding and getting ready for his return back to Korea. Finally, after all that time, he becomes a professor. This means he gets a fancy new office and even more money. Bro is leveling up faster than a high schooler levels up in World of Warcraft. Jong Gil-soo tells Kim he will not help the chairman. Kim is shocked by this since Jong has always been cold towards Kim. Jong explains that he respects Kim and that he will have his back. He also tells Kim that the evil chairman still wants him gone from the medical field. Kim is grateful that he has a friend who is helping him out, but he is shocked that even in New York, the evil chairman still wants him to be ruined. President James is in panic mode in the meantime. He's gotten a lot of offers from various other hospitals. Basically, everyone wants Kim on their team. President James calls Kim into a meeting and they talk about paycheck for the next year. Kim would get a lot more money and a fancy new car. Kim then admits that the other hospitals have offered a lot more. President James then offers him even more money until Kim accepts. Kim then tells James that next year he would like to transfer to Daily Hospital in Korea. There is a special program where medical professors go to other hospitals, and he wants to go there. Kim is in the final stages of his revenge. Lee and the evil chairman better get ready cause a storm is coming their way soon. Lee Sangmin is not having a good time in his life at the moment. He is having insane hallucinations all the time, not just when he sleeps, but when he is awake. He literally sees zombies in every moment. Dude is living in a literal hell. He pretends everything is fine around Yeonhee, but he sees dead people all around him. Yuni is also not an idiot, and she realizes that her boyfriend is taking pills and acting very weird. This relationship seems doomed to fail. In the meantime, Hammy misses Kim a lot. She wants to visit him again, and she cannot wait for him to return home. A few days pass, and Hammy gets some pretty horrible news. It seems that her grandfather has suddenly collapsed and is not doing great at all. Hammy loves that old man, so this is a giant shock to her. Also, his condition is not good at all. His life is in serious danger for sure. The old man has problems with his liver and his body. He is dying. They take him to the best hospitals imaginable, but his condition is only getting worse. The doctors cannot help him. Soon we are introduced to Dongmin. This is his other son and the uncle of Hammy. Dongmin, unlike his evil brother, is actually nice and normal. He also really loves his father, who is now really sick. Dongmin and his assistant go traveling all over the world to try and find the best doctors. Finally, they find themselves in Joseph Hospital in New York. There they met Dr. David. At this point, Kim has gained an almost superhero-like reputation. He is known as the miracle man who does the most insane operations and saves people. Dr. David tells Dongmin that he cannot help his father. This is a very difficult operation and he would not dare do it. He thinks that Kim would be perfect for this. We see Kim coming to the office to meet Dongmin. Dr. David introduces them to Dr. Kim. David is certain that Kim can help the old man and save him. Dongmin and his assistant remember Kim because he was shamed for killing a patient. They reject his help and start to shame Kim and David. They think that Kim is an embarrassment and a total fraud. Kim does not argue with them, and he just leaves. David then tells Dongmin that he should get ready as his father does not have a lot of time left. Dongmin is then called by the nurse. She tells him that his father's condition is getting worse by the minute. Dongmin is in tears as he realizes he cannot do anything to save his old man. Dongmin sits down and just starts to cry. Kim prepares to talk with him one final time to try and convince him. We learn that Dongmin tried to take his father to every hospital in America. The evil chairman told Dongmin to leave as the doctors in America would help. That turned to be a total lie since all the doctors rejected him and his father. The evil chairman probably wanted his father gone so that he could rise in power. The operation is deemed impossible and the old man just lost a lot of time. David once more tells Dongmin and his assistant that Kim is a literal god and that he has saved so many people that they worship him in the hospital. Everyone recommends him as the best of the best, even the doctors and professors back in Korea. Dongmin remembers that Hammy told him how amazing Kim is. Finally, Kim arrives to talk with Dongmin once more. He tells him that he cannot guarantee that his father will survive, but he will do anything he can to save him. Kim wants to save this man because it's his duty and also because he is Hammy's grandfather. Dongmin finally accepts as he realizes that this young doctor, Kim, is the only one willing to try and save his father. The operation will last 10 hours and Dongmin will give his life to his father. This is the same operation that Lee Sang-min ruined in Korea by murdering that young lady. Now Kim can truly shine and perform the operation to perfection. Kim promises a miracle, and he goes to work. Everyone gathers around Kim and follows his lead. The operation begins and Kim hypes himself up. Dave is also there to help him with the process. Dongmin wakes up hours later in his bed. He is totally fine and the liver has been taken away from him. He is shocked to find out that the operation on his father has been going on for 14 hours. They should have been done by the 10th hour. Dongmin wants to know what is happening with his father, and that is when Kim and David arrive. Kim informs Dongmin that his father has been saved and he will recover. Kim has delivered another miracle. At this point, he has more clout than Jesus himself. Both Dongmin and his father recovered in the hospital. It was a difficult operation. Kim tells Dongmin that the old man will need long therapy since the recovery will be complicated. Dongmin comes to visit his father after he has recovered and they talk about the operation. The old man knew that Kim would save him and he is glad that Dongmin was there with him. Dongmin learns he will become the new chairman. Days later, Kim became famous worldwide after the operation. He is now known as the legend who performed an operation all the doctors in America rejected. Basically, he is the best of the best. You just know that Lee and the evil chairman are shitting and pissing themselves right now. Nothing is keeping Kim down anymore. He is a rising superstar. Now, after we saw Kim kick ass and be the best doctor ever, let's return to Lee Sang-min, who is still having bad dreams and we are supposed to care for some reason. Lee continues to have hallucinations and Yini is freaking out. Girl is literally living with a murderer who is losing his mind on a daily basis. I don't know, maybe try to be a better person, just for a few minutes a day. Some days pass and Lee Sang-min has to join his father at a special medical conference. All the best doctors are going to be there and Lee has to prove he is still relevant. He has not been doing so great in the hospital and people have started to notice that he is distracted all the time. Lee and his father go to the conference and Kim shows up there. Not only that, but surprise, surprise, he is the main star of the entire conference. The evil chairman and Lee start to freak out right away. The chairman is angry that Kim has a conference. He cannot believe that Kim is this famous. Lee, on the other hand, is in his yander phase where he is both horny that Kim is there but also wants to murder him on stage. Kim, in the meantime, just kinda talks about his insane achievements and his research. People clap and they love him. Lee is of course jealous and going crazy at the sight of Kim being this successful and beloved. Even after Lee tried to frame him for a literal murder, Kim still came back. Kim gets a chance to ask the audience some questions and he spots Lee. Finally, Kim asks Lee a question and tells him, "See you soon" in Korean. Lee is shocked by this and so is the chairman. They now know that Kim is planning something big. Finally, enough time has passed and Kim is getting transferred to the daily hospital back into Korea. The chairman is furious at this and wants to stop Kim from coming back no matter what. Kim tells President James that the daily hospital will do anything for him to not come there. President James is persistent with the application, but he is shocked to find out that the hospital has really rejected Kim. This is insane since all the hospitals in the world want Kim to come to work for them. It seems that the evil chairman will really do anything to stop Kim from coming back home. Kim is not allowed to go to Korea Daily Hospital, and then he comes up with a new plan. They film a documentary about him and what he has accomplished in his career. In this documentary, Kim reveals that he tried to apply to return to the Daily Hospital in Korea, but he was rejected. This documentary is a big hit and it airs on TV. The old man, the founder of Daily Hospital and the man whom Kim saved, watches the documentary. He is furious to find out that Kim has been rejected by the Daily Hospital. Dongmin, the good son, comes to talk with his father. They then confront the evil chairman and demand that Kim has to return to their hospital. Kim is happy that the entire situation might change pretty fast. The evil chairman is still angry and wants to stop his transfer, but now he has no more power. He has no choice but to allow Kim to return. The people in the hospital are super happy that Kim is coming back since he is now a superstar, and they have missed him. In the meantime, Yeonhee confronts Lee about his pills and hallucinations. He at first tries to play it off as he is totally fine, but soon admits that he thinks he is sick like his mother. Yeonhee is angry at him, and Lee, being the insane freak that he is, asks Yeonhee to marry him at that moment. Lee did not want to argue with Yeonhee, so he offered marriage to her. This makes Yeonhee even more angry. She does not think he loves her at all. Lee Saemin is actually surprised that she thinks this. Lee Saemin tries to convince her that he truly loves her for real. "Girl, you better run from this weirdo before it's too late." On a brighter note, Kim is getting ready for his return to Korea. He is packing up his things, and finally he says goodbye to his office in St. Joseph Hospital. He also does a farewell tour with the entire staff in the hospital, and even he is a bit sad that he is leaving. He did spend like 2 years in this hospital, so he made some good friends. Haemi is pretty emotional. She cannot believe that Kim is coming back home to her. Finally, as a farewell gift, Emi takes Kim to a fancy dinner so they can relax and chill for a bit. Since this is not a weird harem story, no, Emi will not be coming home with him. They are just cool friends. Miss Emi treats him to some delicious chicken and hopes she is invited to his wedding. Kim thinks about how Emi saved him by giving him this job in America. He is really and truly grateful to her. After the dinner is over, Kim thinks about his past and about all his hardships. He thinks about what Lee did to him and about his past life, about how he failed that time and how he must fix his life in this new timeline. Soon after the mom arrives for Kim, they are going to take him to say goodbye to Mary. Kim arrives at her penthouse and there she once again flirts with him, but this time she has a gift for him. Since Kim does not want to accept her money, she has something he will accept. Kim opens it up and he realizes that Mary collected all the files on the evil chairman and his criminal activity. She basically gave Kim a smoking gun. Now he can take down the chairman. Kim finally returns to Korea. The king has come back home. He is reunited with Haemi and his other friends. Haemi waits for him at the airport and they kiss the moment they see each other. It's been a long 2 years for both of them. Haemi is beyond happy to see him, but she is also worried that Lee might attack Kim once more. Kim beats up with the evil chairman and Lee Saemin. He is cold and calm. He does not want to show any form of fear towards them. Lee is all smiles as always. "You is such a creeper." He pretends like everything is totally normal. Kim prepares for his revenge. The final battle now begins as Kim plans to ruin the chairman and expose Lee. Kim now continues working at the Daily Hospital, and he is a superstar. His reputation is now even more insane than 2 years ago. He is now a legendary doctor, even if he is super young. He is also reunited with his mother and father. They are super happy to see him again. Kim now can finally date Haemi, and he promises to never leave her again. Basically, life is good for Kim. The evil chairman is still obsessed with him and wants to ruin him. The evil chairman orders his director to try and ruin Kim by any means necessary. The director watches Kim while he does a conference and he feels sorry about his entire life. In that moment, the director realizes that his entire life he wanted to be like Kim, and now he is just a lapdog working for an evil and selfish boss. He views Kim as a beacon and he does not want to ruin him. It seems that the director might be going through a redemption arc. Kim continues to be a superstar, and the old chairman he saved wants him to be his main doctor for all his medical procedures. Kim is a bit afraid to admit to the old man that he is dating Hemi. He really wants his blessing, but he is nervous. In the meantime, Lee is not doing great as always. Now that Kim is back, he is having even more hallucinations and episodes. Basically, every moment of his day is like a living nightmare. Demons follow him around the hospital and at home. He learns from the other doctors that Kim has a major operation coming up, and since Lee is a freak, he goes to visit the patient. He comes to the patient's room and plans to murder them like he did the last time. He just tries to find a way to do it without leaving any evidence. Yeah, that redemption arc for Lee Sangmin is never coming, cause this bro is Ted Bundy. The patient is lucky since Kim is in the room. Kim now knows Lee and his insane game. He tells Lee to get out of the room, and he also promises to ruin him forever so that Lee will never interact with any patient. You tell him, Kim. Lee now realizes that he is in trouble. Still, he acts like a supervillain and laughs while he leaves the hospital room. Finally, it comes time for Kim to talk with Hama's grandfather and ask for his blessing. The day arrives and Hami is shocked when she sees Kim. He has slicked back hair and is in a fancy suit. Dude did an entire makeover to impress. Hami is really proud she is dating him and she tells him to relax. The grandfather wants to make sure that Kim can make Hami happy, so he wants to grill Kim. Hey grandma, you forgot who saved your life like 10 chapters ago? Maybe chill out a bit. Hami leaves the dinner table while Kim is left alone with the old man and Dongman. Kim promises to make sure Hami is happy her entire life no matter what. Since she got a pretty harsh life, this is really important to her family. Finally, the old man and Dongman give their blessings for Kim to marry Hami. They give him blessing for marriage and Kim can now finally marry Hami. Hours later, the old man and Dongman talk about the future of the hospital. They both think that the evil chairman is ruining everything. They have to find someone else to lead the hospital and change everything. They have also been losing a lot of money, so something for sure has to change fast. The following day, Kim goes to meet the evil chairman. The evil chairman is at first confused as to why Kim came to visit, but soon he learns the shocking truth. Kim presents all the evidence. The evil chairman harassed his secretary. He has emailed evidence of him planning to run Kim and also him stealing funds from the hospital. Kim gives him 1 week to resign and leave everything to Hami. The evil chairman is shocked. He cannot believe that Kim has all this insane evidence. We can thank Mary the mobster for finding all of this. Kim leaves while the chairman freaks out. Now to deal with Lee Sangmin and finally end this evil duo of freaks. The chairman is losing his mind. He is having migraines and raging around his office. His secretary is beyond scared since it seems he is losing it. The evil chairman cannot believe that Kim has cornered him like this. He calls him a director and demands that he takes the fall for everything. The evil chairman does not care about his friends or allies. He just wants to survive and remain in power. The director realizes that he has been working for a psycho this entire time. He rejects the idea of helping the evil chairman. In the meantime, Lee talks with some other doctors in the locker room. He spots Kim sleeping and taking a rest. The other doctors praise Kim for being a miracle doctor. When they leave, Lee Sangmin decides to make a move. Kim pretends to be asleep to see if Lee is going to do something. Lee approaches Kim like he is going to strangle him, but he stops. Kim then asks Lee why he stopped, but Lee cannot answer. Kim then promises him that he is going to be exposed very soon. He is next after his evil father. While that is happening, the evil chairman remembers Hami and that she is going to marry Kim. He decides that he is going to convince her to stalk Kim. Yeah, old man, good luck with that. Evil chairman attacks Hami at work. She is doing an operation trying to have some time with her patient. The evil chairman starts to scream at her over and over to talk to him in private. Hami really dislikes her father for obvious reasons, so she tells him to wait. Finally, he snaps at her and grabs her hand. At that moment, Hami has a horrible flashback of her childhood. Her father was clearly abusive and a total monster. Hami is still scared of him even after all this time. Still, she is a lot stronger now and is ready to confront him. The chairman tells Hami to put in a good word with Kim and calm him down. He thinks that Hami can stop Kim from ruining his career. Hami explains that she talked with Kim before he visited the chairman and she agrees with him. She thinks he has to step down and pay for his crimes. Hami remembers how horrible he is and what he did to her mother, how he totally ruined her life and caused her death. In that moment, the chairman really gets pissed off. He cannot believe that Hami rejected his request and he gets violent super fast. In that moment, Kim arrives and the chairman is now in big trouble. His plan backfired fast. Kim stops it and he decides the chairman is done. He stops the entire conversation and takes Hami with him. The chairman is left shocked and he realizes that his time is up. He had one chance, but he blew it. Kim tells him straight up that now he does not have a week, it's over. Hours later, Kim reports the chairman and police arrive to arrest him. There is so much evidence that the evil chairman had no choice but to go in prison. He is shocked that this is happening to him. His brother, Donman, comes to visit him to basically say goodbye. The evil chairman tries to get his brother's support, but there is no hope for him. It's over. Justice has been served, and the evil chairman no longer has any power. He stands in his prison cell, shocked by what happened, and he cannot believe that his life has ended up here. If you do dumb shit to others for long enough, sooner or later you are going to pay the price. Now I need Kim to take down Lee, and we are going to be finally free of these idiots and their schemes. The evil chairman is taken to court, and there he gets the justice he deserves. The evidence against him is too much that he cannot defend himself no matter the lawyers he hires. Kim is also there since he is a witness. Finally, after everything is over, the chairman gets convicted to prison. The moment the evil chairman spots Kim outside of the courtroom, he jumps on him and tries to strangle him. The evil chairman then suffers a stroke and falls to the ground. It seems all those migraines were not just simple headaches. The chairman is able to barely survive as his brain totally falls apart. Kim then spots him in the hospital days later, and he is a vegetable. Even if he is able to survive, he is not going to be able to move his body beyond his head. Kim realizes in that moment that the evil chairman got a horrible dose of karmic justice. This is worse than any prison sentence. You get what you deserve, I guess. Later, Kim meets with the old man and Dongman. They basically want him to be the new director of the hospital. Kim does not think he is suited for that job, but he does have someone to recommend, his teacher and mentor, Kang Michael. Kang Michael becomes the director of the hospital. The hospital changes for the better, and they started earning money once more. The evil chairman left a lot of things a total mess, so Kang has a lot of work to do. He hates the job, but does it because Kim is helping him out. Everyone is happy, and Kim and Hammy prepare for their wedding. For the first time, they go shopping for a wedding dress. They have a lovely day together, but Kim feels uneasy. He feels like the battle is still not over. He remembers that Lee Sangman is still out there, and he is not someone who just gives up and walks away. Soon enough, Mary the mobster arrives to have a meeting with Kim. She is glad that he exposed the evil chairman, but she is also worried about Lee Sangman. While she could not find clear evidence of his crimes, she knows he is dangerous. Lee loses his job at the hospital. They do not want him causing more problems. His father literally almost ruined the company. Lee Sangman is now totally broken as he realizes that Kim caused him getting fired and ruined all his plans. In the meantime, Kim meets up with Mary and her bodyguard. They are worried about Lee. Mary is convinced that Lee might do something insane very soon since he does not want to just lose this battle. Her bodyguard gives Kim a pen with a sleeping dart. He can use this in combat just in case Lee attacks him. Lee meets up with Yeonhee and she tries to cheer him up. It's very clear that she still cares for Lee. Lee smiles at her and pretends like everything is fine. They even plan a trip this weekend to get away from the troubles. Lee smiles, but this time like an evil villain. Yeah, Yeonhee, you are done, for this man's about to go fully psycho on you. Kim is busy helping Monchul with the new duties as the director of the hospital. They operate and work all the time. Hammy and her family are getting the wedding ready, and Hammy is worried about Yeonhee. She tells Kim that Yeonhee is dating Lee, but she has been acting a bit odd lately. Hammy is worried that Lee might do something extreme since he is so unstable. Kim continues to be worried, but he has so much work in every day. Finally, one night he gets a call. It's Yeonhee. She is crying and she is afraid. In that moment, Kim realizes that she is in trouble. It seems that Lee used a knife and is holding Yeonhee hostage. Kim packs his things and rushes over there. Finally, he arrives at the house to save her, and also Kim calls detectives as well to listen to the confrontation. Lee waits for him with a giant smile on his face. Yeah, Lee Sangman has totally lost it, and he is just doing insane things to end the entire conflict. Lee pours Kim and himself a drink, and the two sit down. Kim thinks that Lee might confess, and the detectives are outside listening to everything. Kim is just focused on saving Yeonhee and stopping Lee once and for all. Lee starts to confess to his crimes. He talks about his motives and why he did all those things to Kim. Lee wanted to become the best and take over the hospital to get revenge for his mother. He wanted to punish his evil father, but Kim kept getting in the way. Kim was just too good, and he stopped Lee in his progress. Kim gets even more angry at this. He cannot believe that Lee is really blaming him. Kim realizes that Lee is acting even more odd than usual, so he starts talking about their friendship and their good times in the past. Kim gets scared and pulls the pen with the sleeping dart. At the same time, Lee pulls out a gun. Oh boy, this is getting insane really fast. The situation is now beyond insane. Lee forces Kim to take a gun, and he counts to 5. Kim is frozen in fear, and in that moment he realizes that either he will die or Lee will die. Kim does not know what to do when in the last second, he shoots Lee in the hand and Lee drops the gun. After that, the police come and Lee Sangman is finally arrested. Lee is taken to prison, and soon enough he is sentenced to life in prison for everything he has done. All the evidence about his murders comes out, and he also confesses to his crimes. Kim moves on with his life but remembers sadness in Lee in those final moments. In those final seconds, Kim saw Lee and his real face. The entire time they knew each other, Lee always had that shit-eating grin on his face, but in those final moments, Kim saw his former friend. That sad and pathetic kid that was lost in life. Kim cannot stop thinking about that face, but he forces himself to move on and continue living his life. The nightmare of Lee Sang-min is finally over. Months pass by and Kim remembers his life, the past, and the original timeline where he was just in pain all the time. He remembers all his failures and all his victories during this life and the previous one. Finally, he feels like he is on the right path. The wedding day arrives and Kim is all dressed up. There is a giant wedding and it's a perfect day. Haemi looks beyond perfect and everyone is super happy for the newly married couple. Finally, after years of dating, Haemi and Kim become a married couple. Everyone is there to celebrate, even the angel that saved Kim. She watches from above and blesses Kim and Haemi in their life together. Kim has truly earned this reward. Kim and Haemi go on their honeymoon. They have a lovely time there. They take photos, go to the beach, and have fancy dinners. It's perfect, but Haemi starts to be a bit sad. Kim asks her what's happening, and she tells him about her mother and how she was lost. Kim promises to always protect Haemi and to give her a great life. The following day, Kim runs into Kangmin, the fat guy who tried to scam Kim in medical school. Now Kangmin looks totally different. He is skinny and even has a girlfriend. Kim is shocked to see someone from college. While they reunite, suddenly an old man has a heart attack nearby. Kim and Kangmin join forces to save the old man. Kim and Kangmin save the man. Kim is super happy that he could be useful while on his honeymoon. Still, he feels weird seeing Kangmin. He is now totally different. He has lost a lot of weight, and he acts like a totally new person. They have an awkward moment where they talk about the past, but finally Kangmin breaks the tension. He tells Kim and Haemi that he is very sorry about the past and what he did to them during college. Kim and Kangmin shake hands. Later, Kim thinks about Lee and about people changing. If Kangmin could have changed this much, maybe Lee could. Yame and those are not the same things at all. Kangmin was a spoiled brat in college. Lee literally murdered several people. However, Kim does not spend much time on it and continues living and winning life. Still, a new threat is on the horizon, a virus called Tenovirus. In the original timeline, this virus spread all over the world and caused massive destruction. Kim now has to stop it before it spreads. Kim has to solve the virus before it spreads. In the original timeline, the virus started in Africa. It destroyed many countries there and then ran all over the world. Kim joins forces with Miss Amy once more to develop a vaccine. He continues to work at the hospital while developing the vaccine. Time passes and months turn into years. Kim continues to live his life while solving issues for humanity and the people around him. He is still the best doctor around. One day, while chilling at the park, he runs into Yeonhee. He has not seen her since that day when Lee got arrested. Yeonhee and Kim sit down and talk for a moment. She admits to have kept in contact with Lee and there are some updates about him. A part of Kim does not want to find out anything about Lee Sang-min, but still he remains curious about his condition. Yeonhee and Kim sit together and talk. She tells Kim that Lee is no longer in prison. His mental state is so bad that he has been transferred to a local mental hospital. Kim does not say anything and so does Yeonhee. After a few moments, she leaves and Kim sits alone thinking about Lee and their past, the good and all the bad moments. He continues to live his life and it's kind of fantastic. He solves the virus threat and comes up with a vaccine. This cures the virus, and by doing this, Kim saves most of Africa and the world. He became a top scientist. Some years go by and Ham's grandfather dies, but this time from old age. He says goodbye to his family and thanks Kim for giving him this extra time to spend with them. Kim does more work in the US, but finally decides that he wants to move back home to Korea permanently. He says goodbye to the people in St. Joseph Hospital. He is especially thankful to Dr. David, who accepted him and always helped him. He also says goodbye to Miss Amy, his ally for the longest time. Time passes and Kim becomes the new chairman of the entire hospital. Haemi becomes a professor of internal medicine. Moonjin is also a professor. That loser who barely passed in high school is now also a professor. Kim truly feels happy in his life. Haemi gives birth to a son called Kyumtae. All in all, Kim has achieved all his goals and he has earned a rest from all the problems. Kim continues to grow in influence and becomes famous as one of the most legendary people in the field of medicine. After a few more years, one day he runs into Yeonhee once more. They could not speak since that last visit. This time, Yeonhee has a request. Lee Sang-min has cancer and she begs Kim to save his life. Kim is shocked by this and he finds out that the cancer is very hard to cure. Also, does he even want to save someone who caused him so much pain? Kim has a dilemma on his hands. Kim is conflicted about his next move. He knows that his patient is Lee Sang-min, a man who caused so much harm to him and his family. Still, it's his duty to save a life. He talks with Hammy that night and then goes to visit Lee that weekend. When Kim arrives at the hospital, he is shocked to see what Lee Sangman has become. It's a frail man with long hair in bed. He is totally broken and not anything like he was in the past. Since Lee Sangman is not fit to make decisions, Kim decides to do the operation. It's a very difficult operation, and he will have to try super hard to save his liver. Like all the patients in this manga, Lee has liver cancer. Lee does not respond at any time, he just lies in bed like a corpse. Kim saves Lee, finishes another impossible operation. He heals the man who caused so much harm and death, he heals the man who almost ruined his life. After a few days, Kim goes to Lee and tells him that he will now live a long and healthy life. Kim leaves, but suddenly he hears Lee thanking him. It was quiet and fast, but Kim heard it. Kim says goodbye to Lee and continues to live his life. 3 years go by and Kim sees a report on the news that the mental facility where Lee Sangman lived was burned down in a fire. Kim did not want to learn more, he just wanted to move on. We learn that Lee almost did not survive that fire. All the patients tried to save themselves and one of them pushed Lee. His face got burned and he gave up. At that moment, he met the angels, they exposed his sinful soul and told him to continue living. He was not done and he had to become a pure soul once more. The angels reminded Lee that his mother loved him and that he could love others again. Lee Sangman then woke up with a new mission to redeem himself. He escaped the burned hospital and left to rebuild his life somewhere far away. Kim reaches 50, and as the years went on, time started to move faster. He did not even remember his old life. Hammy and him were happily married with a teenage son. Kim was still a director of the hospital, but he also volunteered on nearby islands and helped hospitals that did not have much medical material. Even now, he loves helping people and he's proud of the life he has created. He does wonder about his past and about certain people he has left behind. He has not thought about Lee for many years now. We find Kim as he goes to a nearby island to help a local village. There he starts to heal the old people and the sick people. While exploring the island, he meets a mysterious man with long blonde hair and a burned face. This man does not speak, but Kim feels that he is somewhat familiar. It's clearly Lee Sangman, but he is different. His eyes are kinder. Lee does not say anything to Kim, he just watches him leave. Kim is not doing volunteer work on the island alone, his younger son is also there with him. They go exploring the village and they help numerous people while walking around. There are a lot of old people on the island and Kim wants to help them. His son admits that one day he wants to be just like Kim, and he wants to save and protect people. Kim feels so proud of his life and what he has accomplished. While exploring the island, Kim starts to talk with some villagers and he learns that the mysterious man who has been living on the island is actually a doctor. He has saved many people while he has been on the island. Kim starts to have strange feelings about that mysterious guy with a scar. Still, Kim does not realize that man is Lee Sangman. That night, a giant storm hits the island and no boats can arrive. Also, an older man starts to bleed out from his condition. Kim has to perform an urgent operation, but he cannot do it alone. At that moment, Lee Sangman walks in and offers his help. They operate on the old man together. Kim does not like this mysterious man for some reason. He feels strange around him. Still, with no choice, they have to work together. The strange, mysterious man gets ready and they begin the operation. While Kim does not feel comfortable, he realizes that the man is very skilled. They are able to save the old man and the mysterious man leaves. Kim feels that there is something very familiar about him, but he cannot realize what is right in front of him. Too much time has passed. Kim rests because of the hard operation he had to perform. Still, he cannot sleep. He keeps thinking about that man, and he realizes that he knows how it is. Kim goes searching for him and finally spots the man sitting on the beach under the night sky. Kim sits right next to him and offers him a beer. Kim does not want to ask this man if he is truly the Lee Sangman he knew in the past. He is too afraid, but he feels that it's better if they do not speak at all. The man we know that is Lee sits and for the first time seems to be at peace. We see flashes of their past time together, and it really shows that at some point they were friends before it all went to hell. There was a bond there between them. Kim and Lee sit together and stare at the night sky and the stars. In the distance, we see the angel watching over them. Finally, its mission is completed. In the penultimate story, we see the previous timeline, the original one where Kim had a horrible life. We follow the two angels when they first come to Earth. They explored the human world, and they were convinced that most of the humans did not have good souls, they were rotten. Still, they wanted to find out if they were any truly good humans. Then one day, the two angels got involved and tried to stop a maniac with a knife. Since they did not have their powers, the maniac stabbed both of them. They were bleeding out and were taken to a nearby hospital. The evil chairman was still evil in this timeline, and he did not want any doctor to deal with them since they did not have money. The female angel wondered if any human would save her and her brother while she bleed out. We even see that Lee Sangman worked at this hospital, but he did not know Kim. Then we are introduced to the original Kim, the older version who was sick and tired of his life. Kim stepped up and decided to save both the angels no matter what. In that moment, the angels realized that there were truly good humans. Kim suffered his entire life, and he was going to suffer even more. He deserved a second chance at life. He deserved a blessed life. So they gave it to him. The story ends on a heartfelt note. We see Hami talking to her teenage son. He really wants to be like his father. He wants to save lives. He also wants to know how Hami first met Kim. Hami remembers her past, and she tells him a story. When she was still going to high school, she went to visit her older brother. He was working and took a short break to talk with her. He then told her about a young man who had a bright future ahead of him, a young high school student just like her. This student seems to have saved someone even if he was just in high school. Hami walked past a hospital room, and that is where she saw Kim for the first time. She fell in love with him there but did not understand her emotions for a long time. It was like fate got involved in their meeting. Hami at that moment wondered if she was ever going to meet that boy ever again, and she did during her college years. Their love was eternal, meant to be. The story ends with Hami humming her son and making fun of her for looking just like her. Quick reminder that the son has red hair and almost the exact face Kim has. Kim even won that one.